Oh, hello, hello, and hello. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Garage Geek is here already saying hello. So, hello.
Wowzers. That's
I
an
said,
eager fan.
yes. No, he says, thank you. I'm sorry, it's been long. I hope I changed that. Okay. He's actually doing chats with Damien, Sleepy Reader 666.
Hmm.
So if it's actually quite a good chat they're doing together as well. So it's kind of
Cool.
interesting to listen and see what they have whole sometimes and whatever they talk about.
Yeah, I
So
think he usually talks like, music and
vinyl,
books
yeah,
and comics
vinyls and
and also
yeah,
movies and yeah.
exactly. So that's kind of amazing, good to listen to.
Hmm.
And yeah, so we back for this probably the last one for August because it's a schedule
It's
issues,
looking like it, yeah.
but you never
Probably.
know.
Yeah.
What's that
Jesus,
in the
then we're
chat?
into September already.
Yes, and school year starts. Could you believe? I don't know how
Yeah.
is your guys starts. Is September as well? Is a date to start for you
September
guys?
as well. I just don't remember the date
Yeah.
that when she starts. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's the first week, midweek, like the fourth or something. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
their actual first day is.
ours is midweek starts. It's kind of weird, but they have the
Yeah.
inset day, whatever they call them. Anyway, so it's the beginning of new year. Oh,
In yeah, yeah.
it's going to be more challenge for us as a parents. Oh, he starts teaching
Oh, we start teaching
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Wow. Well, good luck to you, sir. I
Yeah,
hope
my brother's back at it.
you
My brother's
you'll
back in
succeed.
China now. He was in England for 3 weeks, but now he's back home, and
Yeah.
I think he starts teaching again
Yeah.
this week as well too. So he's back at it, back in the grind.
It's usually like some areas I heard in America they start like in mid-August and the new
Mm,
school year. But it's I don't know. I'm not really sure what's happening. I'm just saying I heard sometimes some information. But in here in Europe seems to be mostly well England and Lithuania. Let's say I'm from Lithuania originally, so
mhm.
but in England it's September usually the start of the year, beginning of September always. I used to hate September the 1st, but because they always used to do that in Lithuania, like almost religiously, a part of it would be Saturday, Sunday, don't know. So I used to
Mhm.
be celebrating. I used to do this all the time, and it's a weekend, and I
Mhm.
don't have to go to school again for like a couple more days. I used to
Yeah.
freak out. Honestly, I used to have maybe a bit of panic attacks. To be honest, not like you can clearly see it, but I was like, summertime is the best because I don't know 3 months almost 2 months and a half holiday of summer used to be in
Uh-huh.
Lithuania when I was growing
Hmm.
up. That's a long ass time. So you get
That's
used
a
to
long
your
time.
very nice weather or not very nice weather, but like your own kind of things, schedules and stuff. So yeah,
Hmm.
it used to be lovely. Anyway, but school. Who
Hmm.
likes it? You have to just go through it.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so we always start by talking about something we watched.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So I haven't finished watching Batman Caped Crusader.
I haven't finished it either. I've got I think we got 3 more episodes to watch. I think we watched episode 7 yesterday, I think is where
Oh
we're at.
wow! I watched it. I don't remember the number of it, but Harlequin. I watched that
Mm,
one where she's
yes.
actually like the costume was shown and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
absolutely love the show. I know you do like it as well. I think
Yeah,
the
I sure do.
animation rocks the everything, whatever. It's fantastic. I like this color schemes they chose.
Hmm.
I like the atmosphere, the actors. It seems to be really cool. I really
Yeah.
like that they change stuff, which is like Gordon not being white but African American. Then you have Penguin, a female, and Minnie Driver. Is that how her name is? She's the
Oh yeah.
actress voice for the Penguin. So she's kind of
Right.
intriguing. She's kind of like, well, honestly, it could be actually quite good in the movies to be a penguin, to be honest. But
Hmm.
that one they chose is kind of big lady. I mean,
Hmm.
that one is like probably 5, 6 feet penguin, not a
Oh,
tiny one.
yeah. So the biggest question is, what do you think of the Batman's voice, the actor?
I don't mind it at all. Honestly, I
I
don't think it's
I
bad.
love it. Honestly, like
Uh,
his Batman voice is
yeah,
pretty. It's in that same sort of
I think
area that
so.
the previous guy was, whose name I'm blanking on because we're live, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love his voice. I think it's really good.
I think it's because they kind of announced that he's will be animated as Batman no matter where it's gonna appear. Now
Oh, is
the
that
actor's
true?
voice is I
Okay.
think I heard something like that because the way they announced it, they were saying like this is the new Batman's voice. Not sure
Hmm.
how much that's like entails in production line, but it's I like everybody's voice so far. Harley Quinn's voice is fantastic. I think
Hmm.
she has that bit of like cheeky vibe where she like like when she you don't know if she's sane or not sane, but she kind of looks normal. But like the minute she speaks up, she has that villainous type of the voice of hers,
Hmm.
which is great. I like Harley Quinn. Not sure about the costume though. I am so much in love with
Yeah, I'm
that
not. I
costume
wasn't
from the
crazy about
beginning.
the costume. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very well. It's very old school kind of
Mhm.
Harlequin type of look because that's the
Yeah.
era they're choosing to be anyway. So,
Yeah.
and then general, our Batman suit is absolutely goddamn delicious to look at.
So good. Yeah, it's so good.
So I'm enjoying that a lot. So yes, in generally from a get go, I start like, yeah, this is like really good. I hope they're gonna continue. And of course, it's nice to see the creators or writers or producers are the comic creators as well, which is
Hmm.
great. And also, though both of them has written Batman, at least at Brubaker and oh my god, what's his name now?
Bruce Tim,
Bruce Tim and the other one,
Rucka. I didn't Greg
yeah,
Rucka do an
Greg Rucka.
episode?
There you go. That's the one. Because they did put themselves that Gotham Central, isn't it? They both wrote that
That's right. Yep.
together. So it's actually really nice to see. So it
It's
seems to be
amazing.
that works really well for them. And apparently, I heard that Brubaker couldn't do it more because of some like that writers thingy happened. You remember
Hmm.
it was last year, wasn't it? The strike they had. So
Yeah, the
apparently
writer's
there was
strike
some
or
sort of
whatever. Yeah.
there was some issues with writing, who is going to do it or what. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting, but I love it. I mean, I highly recommend for you to just glimpse on it, to watch it
Hmm.
an episode and see your what you think. But I think it's really cool in generally.
The the Catwoman episode was probably right up
The
there
best.
as one of my favorites of like all of the Batman stuff. I loved that episode quite a bit. I thought it was really well done.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've come to a point where I accept this new phase of DC animation. If you go back and look at the first season of Batman animated, you'll see it's dramatically different. That early stuff is very fluid, but with this new era of stuff,
Huh.
it's pretty damn good. Like I kind of like it. Episode 7 so far was my least favorite. It was a little stiff,
Huh.
even in like just the movements and the delivery of dialogue was a little stiff. But I'm wondering if you caught like the little, I don't know, not necessarily Easter egg, but did you catch one of the cops' names? You would have met him already in the episodes up to where you are. There's a cop named Corrigan, Jim Corrigan, who of course is
Ah.
Deadman's alter
Yeah.
ego. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be the same Corrigan or if it's just another Jim Corrigan. Because I think there was another one in the comics, in the Batman comics, that wasn't related to Deadman whatsoever. But fingers crossed that if they keep going with it, maybe that character turns into it. So
Cool.
yeah,
Hope you're gonna
it's
watch
worth watching. It's worth watching. I think. I'm just such a huge fan. Sorry, yes, Spectre. Yeah,
it.
thank you,
That's what I was.
Damien.
I didn't say that.
Batman
Not
Spectre.
clicking.
Yes,
Hello, Damien.
Spectre. Yes.
Yes, Spectre.
Um,
Yes.
being being such a fan of this
Yeah.
series in the past and all that stuff, I'm super excited that it's back.
That's
So I
cool.
mean, I was kind of destined to like it no matter what, I think. So maybe I don't have the most critical mind to watch it because I just love it. So yeah.
Oh, I am really relaxed. I actually don't really notice many things. I don't think I even noticed that
Hmm.
thing you talked about that Corrigan Jim. All the coppers they like always you like you, like proper bad guys, and the
Yeah.
way Jim Gordon had to be like demoted, that was like
Yeah.
it's like a proper slap in the face, man. It's like
Yeah.
the worst thing you can do in your career is to do that, like to have that
Yeah.
done for you. And then he still works his ass off. What do you think about Barbara's role? So she's a lawyer now.
She's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much because of the
Oh,
next episode, but yeah, I mean, she's good. I think it's an interesting character. I'm just curious because again, like what they do so well with this stuff sometimes is as kind of silly and goofy and funny as some moments are, there's still like this underlying kind of seriousness to it that I really like, because it makes you think like they may dig into some characters in a little different way, as opposed to just kind of writing them off and just having them make some random ass turn. Like I saw somebody wasn't crazy about the Two-Face character, this idea that he was supposed to be a good lawyer. He has this thing happen. He's got a
Yeah.
good and a bad side. So it's interesting how they're adjusting some of the characters. And I'm curious where they're going to take it if they do a couple more seasons. Really looking forward to seeing how all that stuff develops, right?
Hmm. Now I'm
Because Bruce
focusing on.
Timm, they've always had kind of this handle on all of these characters, even the villains,
Yeah.
giving them a little more of a backstory that where you can sort of feel for them. They're not just these black and white evil people.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
so they handle that kind of stuff pretty well.
I like the voice of Alfred, because the actor
Yeah,
is an English actor. He is really good, and has great TV shows, English as well. So he proper have the like accent you supposedly have for the
right.
English guy. So that was fantastic, and I'm really pleased for
Alfred
yeah, go on.
Alfred was the hardest one for me to get used to, because I really, really
Mm,
miss that previous Alfred. I really liked that previous Alfred. So
yeah,
that one's a little tougher for me to get behind. I still like the character, but I just
yeah,
really liked that previous Alfred in the
mm,
animated series, and the voice actor and just the look of him and everything. He was
yeah,
just so great part of that show. So, but yeah, we'll
yeah.
see where this goes.
This actor is, as I say, because I am here living, so I seen his TV shows,
Hmm.
and he has like, there's one show I was watching. He's like goody two shoes cop, like very good guy, and another show you see, and he's like almost to a point like serial killer, and you don't really
Mm-hmm.
want to like to see that bit. And he portrays that both really well, and you feel really
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable when he's really acting like a serial killer. Like that's unassuming look he has, like
Right,
a kind of short stature, balding, and it's kind of like always like the way he acts is kind of like looks like very shy, but
right.
then like like he portrays the character so well, you get into like he gets you in your mind to like work with him, like look, this is how it's gonna be, and then slap he just does something like, and you're like, or you have this heartwarming feeling towards the guy, because he's like a geeky kind of cop, and nobody's listening to him. He's kind of like speaks really softly, but then he
Hmm.
solves it, or he's not even a cop. Anyway, it's
Hmm.
just I like the actor in generally. So I think he has a like great chops for doing acting in generally, but now having in voice acting things, which I'm not sure if I've done before. But I was
Yeah,
really surprised to see him picked as Alfred. So it was always good to see some fresh, I guess, even voices, just to give it a
right.
little bit more.
Hmm.
So yeah, I liked it a lot. So
Hmm.
really cool.
Yeah, cool.
What else did I watched? Oh, I watched a couple of episodes of Fallout.
Mm.
It's based on game,
Yes.
TV, really well done, to be honest.
Yeah,
Super,
I've heard people rave about it.
really spot on. You have Twin Peaks guy, the cop actor in there.
Oh,
I don't know
really?
his name. Yeah, he's there. He's not
Kyle
there for very.
MacLachlan?
Yes, Carl
Like the guy that
McLaughlin. Yeah.
plays Agent Cooper? Really?
Yes, Agent Cooper's in there.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have that. So I know his face the most. There's other actors I recognize. I can't tell you the names of. Oh, there you go. He's a fan as well. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really well made. Also, there's the guy who, or the one of the guys they were looking for, a professor. He always look a professor actor with the glasses,
Right.
and he always would recognize that guy because he's kind of the same kind of similar roles. It's generally really good acting. The cowboy, the guy who has this crazy like big smile. If you see his face, you'll know him. I can't tell you the names. I'm sorry. I'm just generalizing in here. But I
Uh-huh.
loved Fallout. So if you want to spend some time without don't need anything. You don't need to know about the game. Not Damien, Damien, hello, who's Travis Othfellow. So he's
Uh-huh.
absolute fan of Fallout. He's like
Yes.
been playing it for like forever, and he said he liked it. So I think I remember him saying that. So if he likes it, that is like kind of saying like people who heartfelt like knows all the storyline. So that's a good sign. So, but they really didn't. So like good production line,
Mhm.
the CGI, all the robotic things with the like the guys who this religion sect who's basically having this protectors, but you only can be like anyway selected, and they have squires, and they have this kind of like situation. Of course, this nuclear part of it when it happens in California, you see this explosion mushrooms. Not once.
Yep.
So one is quite good as to have one. Yeah, it was like
Ah,
three of them dropped
yeah. Well.
because there was a saying in like Soviet Union, blah blah blah. That time when America and Soviet Union were clashing, and basically this is what would have happened. So 200 odd
Mhm.
years later, it picks up the storyline, and it's just like has ghouls, like that kind of like really kind of disgusting people looking, like
Yeah.
survivors from outside, which is radiation is still a part of it, and then you have the wall people where the Twin Peaks guy comes in, and they are like those middle class people who basically end up in the nice cushy place to hide away from all the nuclear, and they will
Mhm.
save America. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's how it just goes, and it's really well. I mean, I just watched. I didn't haven't even finished it yet. I think I watched like 3, 4 episodes maybe now.
Mhm.
And I don't like to binge watch shows like Batman the same. I don't want it all information quickly because I like to
Yeah.
enjoy it. I like to digest. It's almost like reading a comic book for me, kind of thing. I don't want too much information. I just need to digest it to understand what it's all about. Do I
Yeah.
actually really
Right.
like it or not? So,
Especially with
yeah,
some of those shows, it's harder to binge some of those
yeah.
shows just because there's so many.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's so many stuff. Sorry.
yeah,
Just let me see message here.
yeah. Busy man. He needs to reply all messages. Don't have his people to message for him like Govidal has his lawyers.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, So, oh my God, this is hot day today. Whew, for England. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this. Anyway, so what else? More worth mentioning? I don't know if there's anything else to worth mention. I watched something else, but I can't recall. Um, yeah, no. So I guess it never came into. Go on.
I mean, the big thing is, did you see the Daredevil trailer that leaked?
Nope. I
Dude.
oh yeah, yeah. In America, it's like you high guys they like baking
Yeah.
in the hot. But England, okay, England. You don't realize our summer was like 18 degrees for the like we have 2 days of hot, and then we freeze our ass offs, and then again 2 days of hot, and you freeze your ass off, and it's like.
Hmm.
When it's like that, your body is not used to having at least the heat levels. Like when it heats up so much, you like your body goes like, oh, like what is going on here? I don't know what to
Hmm.
do. Please help, kind of thing. Like you want to
Hmm.
be just under the shower. But anyway, it's just the way it feels like. No wonder we in England we only talk about the weather because this is what we
Yeah.
have,
Right.
like unpredictability 101.
Yeah. Totally.
Anyway,
So I guess someone from like the panel, someone
yeah.
in the audience watching the
Mhm.
panel, and they were doing all the announcements for the shows and yada yada. So the
Mhm.
cast comes out and stuff, and everybody's cheering, and then they show the trailer. So somebody
Oh,
filmed it from the audience. So I saw
oh,
it on Twitter because I follow a Daredevil account on Twitter, and
okay. So it wasn't officially
man, oh man,
announced.
man, oh man, it looks pretty fucking good. Like I kind of can't wait. Doesn't come out until, pardon me, March next year. But
Oh
apparently
wow.
they're in pre-production on season 2 right now. So
Yeah.
they've finished season 1. It comes out next year, and they're already kind of getting geared up to shoot the next season of this Born Again series. It's they're calling it season 1, Daredevil Born Again season 1, and there's going to be a
Yeah.
season 2. So yeah, I'm really really excited about it. It was one of the better, or one of my favorite of the kind of Marvel TV shows from then.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, yeah. I absolutely love it. Like Daredevil stuff in generally. I
Mhm.
like the cast. I hope they stayed with the same cast, isn't it? Are
Do
they
you want
staying?
spoilers or no?
Daredevil. Maybe not. You see, like, look, the guys here
Yeah.
close by. No, maybe not. Let me watch it, and then
Okay. Yep. Then I
you'll
won't
you'll
say
tell me.
shit. Then I won't say nothing.
Okay, I don't know why I'm afraid of that, but
Well, no, no. Yeah, it's fine.
It's like would be nice surprise. Like, oh, so you haven't watched Deadpool movie, nor you had time to do
I
so, nor
haven't.
you
No, I
will
have not
ever
seen it.
even attempt. Okay.
I don't know if I will, to be honest. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to see it.
Mm, cool. It's
You
just
watched it?
funny. Yeah, yeah. Like Deadpool, I watched it when we last chatted. Remember, I was talking to
Oh,
you
that's
about it.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I watched it and I enjoyed it. I don't know. I'm just like because you just mentioned Daredevil and because the Daredevil line was apparently Jennifer Gardner was asked, did you feel a bit
Oh,
awkward when they had the pun going to because it was the same like basically saying that she split from him and Daredevil no more kind of thing Electra together because that's how they like they have kids together and all that stuff and
uh-huh.
and Ben Affleck in his love life is not really something you would cheer on about. The guy doesn't know who to pick and why to pick what, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's what happens. I
Yeah,
mean,
Jessica Jones was good too. Garage Geek is saying we
yes,
enjoyed Jessica Jones as well too. But
I
yeah,
do.
not as much as Daredevil. And I think the thing for me from Daredevil was kind of the choreographed fight scenes. I thought were always pretty goddamn impressive. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah, so I mean, some of the again in the trailer, it seems like that level of choreography is still there, which is great as well. Because the couple of obviously in a trailer, it's harder to tell because they're really cutting stuff up, so it's a little more difficult to tell for sure. But it really appeared that that level of choreography was still really high. That bar was really high, which is
as
cool,
long
man.
as Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be part of Kingpin's role, so I'm okay with it because I like
Okay.
him as a villain.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if he is, so it's a spoiler or whatever. But I like him I like him generally him as an actor, and I like him
Hmm.
being bad guy. And this, like, they made him his stature being so big, so I like that one. And I always
Yeah,
enjoyed it, like Jessica Jones and stuff and all that kind of thing. So I'm
yeah.
looking forward to see. I heard something else, but I don't remember the whole thing, so I'm not going to even open my mouth about it
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know details. And if one probably makes sense in my own head anyway, so why the hell do that?
Hmm.
Um, do you want to speak some comics? Because I know you have
Sure.
already spoken of the comic books. I am
I
gonna.
just want to show you this. I just want to ask you before I forget. Did I send you this in the last package I sent you? No? Okay, I'll put one aside for you. It was just a free, it's an intro to Kaya for people who haven't read it, but it's all
Oh,
black and white and it has a couple of
oh,
sample
oh
story
no.
points. Like it's not an original story or anything, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was a cool little pamphlet that I'll throw in with the next package of stuff
Oh,
and a
no,
pretty
that's
great back
oh,
cover as well too. Almost
yeah.
looking like eternity on there. So
Yes, yes, he does have lots of things. I'm gonna show you a couple of things which I have not read, but I'm looking forward to reading because my library had it. I had to pick it up. Batman One Bad Day, The Riddler.
oh yeah.
Apparently, it's a really good story. I have not read
Hmm.
it. Tom King and Mitch Gerards and art. So should be quite spectacular to look at. But apparently, it's a really good read. I'm not sure, as I'm 50-50 when it comes to Tom King, if not people are
Yeah.
aware of it. But yeah, all those 9 grid panels. Oh, he's an actor. It's dead spit image of him. He used an actor's face for that. I don't know the
Okay.
name, so I can't think it. But because of the haircut, and of course, in the same vein, we had the Batman one, Mr. Freeze, and I like Mr. Freeze.
Cool.
I think I've read it somehow, but I'm not sure why would I. But this one is who's written in this one? Come on, hello. Gregor, Jerry Dugan and Matteo Scalero, because Matteo
Oh,
Scalero's art.
nice.
I'm a huge fan of Matteo Scalero. I even
Yeah.
watched his um, um, podcast he does. It's kind of funny actually. They really laugh a lot, like three comic artists having a podcast.
Mm,
So he's funny to listen to. I really like
right.
his art. So from previous stuff.
And
So
Freeze is such a good character too. Like he's
yeah,
such a fantastic character.
yeah. So this is the books I have
I
picked up, which
see
I
him
have
on
not.
my shelf there. I don't know if you can see him. He's somewhere in there, but
Okay,
he's there.
while you're pointing at that shelf of yours, what's that pink thing? The magazine? Is that pink magazine?
Pink thing.
Where the
Oh,
statue of figures are? What is
yeah,
that?
that in there.
Yeah. What is
Yeah,
that?
it's a comic.
Huh?
So one of my favorite documentaries is Comic Book Confidential. So I've
Uh-huh.
got the VHS tape of Comic Book Confidential, and then there was a comic issue with Chester Brown did the cover on it
Oh
for
wow.
Comic Book Confidential as well too. So I didn't know about it until the Kayfabe channel. They brought it up in one of their videos. Had
Uh-huh.
no idea it existed. Put it on my wish list at Lone Star, and got it. One of my last orders, not the very last one, maybe the one before. And
Uh-huh.
it's fantastic. Just a little promotional thing for the documentary. So I just have those both just hanging out there in front of the toys, or behind the toys rather.
I mean, I know you already things, but I'm really wondering from the get-go, did you read this?
I sure did. I put it to the side to make sure I didn't talk about it because I was waiting for our next chat.
Yes.
So
So, so
you
you
go
say
first.
it. No,
I
you
mean,
say it.
I really liked it, and I'm pretty excited to see where this story
Okay.
goes, based
Uh-huh.
on that previous kind of that alpha where
Yeah.
there was the half story in there. That was a
Uh-huh.
fantastic premise. This is
Yeah.
a fantastic premise. Him being in jail, like I don't know,
Yeah.
man. I'm looking forward to it. To be honest, the next one comes out right away, doesn't it?
Well, soonish, isn't it? Next week, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, to be honest. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm not sure. I wasn't. I'm not like. I'm like like absolutely astounded by the beginning of it. I
Hmm.
like the premise. I like this that
Yeah.
he is part of this, like normal human being jail, and he is a mutant who is basically just can kick everybody's butt. Hey, Paulo Costa, how are
Hello,
you?
Paulo Costa.
Uh, and so I like what I was. I am an absolute fan of Jolie Jones,
Yeah,
but
Joel Jones.
honestly,
Yeah.
I don't know if she had as much flair what she
Mm,
can portray in the pages. I think
right.
the Rhonda Patterson's coloring has kind of overshadowed her line
Yeah.
work. And I think if she would be doing her own inking, I'm not sure if she did, or I must presume she did, but the coloring seems to be kind of muddled her art a little bit too much. I find it needs to be more a kind of thingy, like I don't know. It just it has so much more she could do than what we're seeing in
Yeah.
here. This is not portraying what Lady Killer. This is the place where you can actually understand the quality of the artist itself, and I
Hmm.
think that's what drove me a little bit nuts, to be honest. A little bit and distract me from the storyline because of that, because I am such a fan of her art, and I didn't
Yeah.
see that uniqueness what she was. It's really good art, don't get me wrong. She is superb in motion. That's why I'm showing this couple of pages,
Hmm.
because what she's capable of doing is amazing on a piece of paper. But I don't know what happens, but it just doesn't feel like it's what she is. Like her identity isn't here in for my eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, mountains. Oh,
Yeah. Look
wow.
at this guy. Jackio, I'm coming
Oh,
commenting from a remote
oh,
mountain on a solo overnighter. Dude, that's incredible.
oh,
Are you on any
jealous.
social media that we follow you on, Jackio? Because I'd love to see some photos.
Yes,
That
Jack,
sounds
you
amazing.
tell us, message us, whatever. Somehow get in touch, ring the bells, whatever you can. Seeking
Yeah, yeah.
refuge from Olympic closing ceremony. Give me a nerd stuff. I'm tired of Olympic stuff, and it's just everywhere. Olympics this, Radio Olympics
There's
that.
Olympics going on right now? Huh.
Oh, there you go. You're not even hearing that. So it's
No,
good for
I
you.
know there are them. Yeah, I'm being a wise ass.
I was surprised about Canadian basketball team because I actually was hoping them to be quite high up, and they
I
lost to
watched a little
French.
bit of the female volleyball, and
I
that's
was
all I.
watching a first-time breakdancing competition of Olympics,
Oh,
which
I watched
Lithuanian
2 minutes
had.
of that, and I couldn't deal with it.
Lithuanian have won the silver. She lost to a
Oh,
Japanese. So B
nice.
girls, as they call them, I think, if
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
correct. So Lithuanian
yeah.
won silver. I actually thought
Cool.
that she was supposed to have won the gold, but hey, judges didn't think that way. So, but I'm
Mm.
impartial because I'm Lithuanian, so
Yeah,
I'm going to root for that. But in generally, I didn't like Chinese. Chinese was very cocky breakdancer.
yeah,
Like they always portray that kind of thing, the cold, like almost. I'm sorry for saying that Russian look to them.
yeah,
Not a fan, if you can hear it. Anyway,
yeah,
so the
right.
story itself, I'm curious. I want more. I don't
Yeah.
think it's enough for me. From this only, I don't think it blew my socks off as a comic, especially turtle reader.
Mhm.
I mean, so used to having previous maybe writers, so I'm used to the way they writing. So I'm just gonna get into, because he didn't, it didn't tell me what Jason Aaron is doing yet. It didn't excite me to a point where like, oh my god, I'm gonna
Right.
want to read the next one. Yes.
But I think it gave you like the tone though, and the tone
Yes.
is going to be as I was hoping that it was
Yeah.
going to be a little more of a gritty, a little more
Yeah.
of a darker story. So I mean, you get that tone at least
Yes.
that yeah, no, this isn't going to be. This
Mm.
is maybe going to be a little more like the old books, you know, because that's also
Yes.
what the art reminded me of at times too. But you're
Yeah.
totally right. Looking at it again, the
Yeah.
coloring takes you out of that. The
Yeah.
coloring isn't gritty enough. The coloring, because I mean, there's some line work that she has going on in there where it really has that kind of edge to it that I
Yeah.
enjoyed. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but the coloring really takes away from it for sure.
It very looks like, because she usually does like a medium on paper. She doesn't use computers, but that feels computerish to me because of
Mm-hmm.
the lines used as a, like, there's no inclines. It seems to be, it's
Right.
too mellowed, or did they do anything about it? I'm not sure about it. I'm picky. Okay, I'm very picky, but I am
Yeah,
in the,
yeah, yeah.
I
That's
love
fine.
my turtles. Ah, talking
Mm-hmm.
about turtles, the last animated movie came out. They actually doing TV series as well,
Oh,
which
that's cool.
yeah, I'm not sure, like it's a similar art style, not as like, like polished, because it's going to be Tales of a Teen Titans, what I'm talking about, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
My brain is not working already. It's the heat. I'm blaming the heat. And yeah, so it's would be nice to kind of think to watch. I watched like half of episode because I didn't have enough attention to it. But it looks as fun as it is. Like teenagers, they are all teenagers, one wearing the same things, get like glasses, all like like braces and all that stuff. So all the same.
Hmm.
So if you guys want to watch some animation, go for it. I'm really looking
Yeah, I
forward to
watched the
seeing
series.
next one, which is going to be
Yeah,
next
same.
next turtle, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's gonna be. I got this kind of kept my
Yeah.
hopes up a little bit. You know, like that's really good.
Uh-huh. So, did you succeeded in pre-ordering
No,
this
I didn't check yet. It was supposed to come out when? Does it come out last month or this month?
this month?
This month. Yeah, I haven't looked to see if I've succeeded yet. Yeah, that's right. Hey, yeah.
Oh,
God damn. Yeah, I don't know if I've succeeded yet. Jesus, too many things going here. I should
I
check
live.
in with them next week. I'll check in.
There's bears, but they're scared of hillbillies. Coyote packs and humidity is my only concern. Oh wow.
Yeah, the heat I imagine is the big thing for sure.
Yeah, feed them
Feed them
moonshine.
moonshine. Yeah. Hell, feed me moonshine. Send me some Kentucky moonshine. I'll take that shit.
Okay, another one. I saw you talking about this.
I didn't talk
So,
about it yet. Nope. Because I
no,
saved it again. Yeah.
how did you? No, I mean in your video, in your Sunday or
No, I
Monday,
just
whatever.
mentioned it, but I never talked in any
Ah,
detail on it. I don't think. Yeah.
so I'm not loving the art, eh?
Oh, you're not, hey? Because I was gonna say the biggest surprise for me was how much the art didn't bring me out from the story. I thought I would really be like turned off, but actually
No,
it didn't have. It wasn't as dramatic as I had built up in my head. Not saying it's not very different because it's very different,
it's
but
extremely
it didn't kind of
different.
take me out of it like I thought it was gonna.
Yeah, it's extremely different in saying I don't know, something's missing. Okay, it's missing in the facial expressions. It's a bit thinner lines. It's less kind of like what do you call it? I don't know how to say it, but look, it's not bad. I'm not trying to. That didn't
Mhm.
put me off the story. I really is intrigued to know exactly what's happening. But
Yeah,
it's very difficult to go jump in somewhere who is
yeah.
doing really spectacular work. And honestly, Fiorama's work, you can say like like he started it. That's what we used to it. This is just a break for 3 issues, I think, isn't it? But
I
I
thought it was I
really,
thought it was two, but it might be three. Yeah,
yeah, maybe two, I don't know, 2 or 3 issues, and it doesn't matter.
yeah,
It's still kind of, he's really has a good chops for artists, don't get me wrong, but I think where I started really loving the work of his is it's here when she's
yeah.
sleeping between two pigs. and
Yep,
that was
that's
like,
exactly where I'm looking right now.
oh,
Yeah.
and then those things to come out. So what the hell is going on with her now?
Mm-hmm.
Because is she infected? Is she's having new powers? Is she what?
It seems like, yeah, I mean, it seems like, like, I
Or
think
she?
this issue I like a lot more than previous one too. I'm
Yeah,
glad that a lot of things surprised me about this issue. I'm back to really enjoying it because I was really worried after that last one. I was
yeah,
worried about the artist switch. I'm
yeah,
glad that I was wrong on both accounts because I thought this was a good issue, and
yeah.
it feels like these two issues kind of making sure that, okay, we realize where the pigeon guy is and we realize where she is. Now we're going to go from there, right?
Yes,
It's interesting because, I mean, to me, she's entered this town and now all of a sudden this disease is running rampant and killing everybody. Like, it's something.
yeah. Mr. Donald, welcome.
Hello,
Sorry,
Donald Rex. Sorting
sorry.
comics, sorting back
Yeah,
issues.
yeah. Well, at least you're listening to us, which we're glad to keep your company in that sense. And looking
I'm gonna
forward to see what's gonna
rattle on
happen.
in your ear.
I'm looking forward to see what's next. Like with those two
Yep.
covers, looks intriguing enough. This guy we never seen before, did we?
I don't think we've seen him before. I don't
No.
recognize him. If we have, I don't recognize him.
Yes. But anyway, it's good. And Andre Lima Rojo is doing really well. I mean, I just saying that Furiyama is not something, like it's like a break from the thingy.
Yeah.
So it's always cool to mention.
I really like that cover too. That cover is really
Yes,
great.
very much
The
so.
features on her face, like it looks like she's aged,
Yeah.
like 30 years. She looks really worn down. It's great, man. And
Yeah.
those spots on her face and stuff. Yeah, it's very cool. This is such a good book. I'm really glad that, again, like any sort of writing, it's gonna have those peaks and valleys for sure. I'm
Mhm.
glad I wasn't stubborn enough to just say screw it and I'm, stuck with it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I really like this book a lot. It's probably going to be one of my favorite reads from this year. I think it's kind of stacking up that way.
Uh, yeah, it's nice. So yeah, it's so far. Ooh, oh, in J is pronounced pronounced as a French.
As in
Okay,
French, okay.
good luck with that.
I
I
don't
don't
even
know
know
how
how
to.
it's pronounced in French.
Arrojo,
Arroyo or
Arrojo,
something, or
Arrojo.
yeah,
Sorry,
Anjou,
bonjour,
Aruju, Aruju.
Arrojo. Is he having some French? Oh no, he's Portuguese. That's why Paulo Costa is making sure that we're pronouncing it correctly. Um, anyway, okay, we do apologize for like playing around with that kind of noise.
Yeah.
I want to show it to you because why not? Because it's so one of the things you guys
Hey,
got make at me. This is really funny. I
good,
really
hey.
like this. I mean, if you, I mean, I don't really.
Make yourself big.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, forgot I was doing this. This has kind of been
It's
a while.
been so long.
Yes. So this is really funny. Funny in the way that the way it's been portrayed. So I really liked it. The more I was like those little lines it worked really well. Is this a Titanic supposed to be? Because it looked like it.
Yeah,
So
it
yeah.
definitely looks like Titanic. Absolutely.
So we having a girl who apparently lost in the sea, and she's sending SOS. In this view, I like what the he used a bag, like the her cloth, whatever she's using to hide away. She manages in this little boat. She even manages to have a bottle, a paper, and an ink with a pen, which is very good feat when it comes to that. And it seems to be that she's not really panicking. She's kind of like it felt like it was for a bit, but then the panic started when she dun you see the shark coming through, and then I don't know, I don't know what I would be. I probably would be eaten by the time, like I've seen this, because I would panic and drop from the boat and perish in that way. But apparently not to her, and good for her. And it's silent comic book, by the way, so it's up to you to make a mind. I really like the way the character's drawn. In general, everything I like about this, I like the way he used the blacks, the grays, and the ink washes and everything. And I just this scene is fantastic, and everything everything about her, and this is like what surprise for me, like, oh, she's actually fully naked as well. But hey, we don't take anything for granted. At least she has a boat and something to cover herself. But what amazes me is her ability to fight. And she fought off the shark many times because she's so hungry. She has to survive no matter what. It seems to her, and good for her. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything else to say about it as much as I just absolutely goddamn loved every piece of page I was turning. It was rewarding right till the end. And she's even like, she got so confident with herself that she actually played with the shark afterwards, which was amazing for me to look at. And then she was a bit of like, maybe a bit gone crazy, like imagine the blood and all the satisfaction in her face. And the emotional part of this comic book was really relayed well for me. So yeah, thank you, Terence. You always
Yeah, no
give me
problem.
a surprise thing, and I thank you for them to translate for us non-speakers of the language. So
Hmm.
we know that what she's saying to her, and somehow they relating information quite well as well to each other. So yeah, and she's apparently back, I think, as what it says in here. Is there a continuation story for her or not? Is this just
No,
one
just a
off?
one shot on that one. Yeah, just a one shot.
So
So I got to extend the
SOS.
thanks to loading the canon to Colin Blanchett, who's a
Oh,
huge Mark Calsnico fan. So I had found
ah,
some, and then
ah,
Colin had talked about him and said he's amazing. Have you read any more of his stuff? And then I went on a hunt and I got a bunch of his stuff. And honestly, all of it is really good.
I
It's
am.
well worth checking out. His style in that one though is
Yes.
particularly beautiful. He's always got a really nice style throughout all of
Yeah.
his books. But I
Uh-huh.
agree with you, like that fabric that she has, I love the way
Yes.
that looked on the page.
I think
It looks
it.
amazing.
Used it for. I don't know if it's. It looks like it's kind of like computerized thing happened, or does he
I'm
have
wondering
like.
if it's like just cut out and pasted on kind of thing, you
Yes,
know?
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like scrapbooking kind of thing
Yeah.
happening here. But I really like. I think it's really suited everything. Like it's fantastic that his idea of her to be drawn in such a thin lines of ink,
Hmm.
whereas because then she doesn't mud away in the page. She's still there. You're visible. You can see it. But there's the big scene like shark passing by and all that stuff. It's very well, you can spot them really well, and I think it's graphically really well achieved, to be honest. And that's the thing, is when you read a silent comic, which I have not done for many times, but this one was actually, I knew exactly where it is. You don't really need words whatsoever, because at the end of the person alone in the middle of nowhere, and she wouldn't, like, if she would talk to herself, maybe you will see some bubbles on stuff like that, but that just made the point from beginning to the end, and I absolutely loved it. And they gave me a smile, like a smile at the end of it, and it's not always. I could tell you that, like, not everything my brain accepts as, like, like perfect line. Sometimes I do am a bit more perfectionist when it comes to art in that sense, but I'm
Hmm.
learning to be more like open-minded, let's say this way. I think it's the
Hmm.
more I'm doing more reading of independent books, especially library does help me a lot. I am more open to all sorts of styles, and I find that even more endearing than your specific kind of stylistic approach to doing comic books. So I
Hmm.
really like it. So yeah, this is
Yeah, yeah,
really cool. Thank you.
yeah,
Honestly, this has really made
yeah, yeah.
made
He's
made
great.
me have a good moments.
He's one. It's one of those guys that, when you go back issue hunting, at least if you
Yeah.
find like cheap bins, it's hard sometimes, even though you have stuff, it's hard not to
Mhm.
buy it again. That was
Mhm.
that one, right? Like I found another one because I never see his stuff in the bin. So
Yeah.
when I saw it, I just had to grab it at that time and just kept a
Well,
stack of it. But there's comics like
lucky
that.
me.
It's you just need to grab them because they're just that good that they need to be rescued, I guess, and passed on to somebody. And that's, yeah, he's one of those artists for sure.
And this is like stylistically really nicely done as well at the back.
Hmm.
Black
Hmm.
background, but here you go. That's exactly what you want to see from the
I mean,
character.
it comes to a level of like, there's an artist doing a comic, and then there's
Yeah.
also like design, and
Yes.
there's also intent with the overall package and what you want to do with it. It's pretty freaking impressive. I wonder if that kind of stuff with a place like Fantagraphics, I know they have a designer that artists work with for their hardcover collections and stuff, but I
Yeah.
wonder if at that time that it came out, if there was a designer that was helping with like layouts of the actual comic and the cover and things like that as well, or if it was purely just the artist.
I don't. You see, I
Yeah.
don't know. It would be interesting to see actually that kind of like
Hmm.
if you
Got
can
to get
find those
Colin,
sort of.
our
Yeah.
Fantagraphics insider.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Did you manage to read some of this Battling Boy?
Yeah, I'm just about done it actually. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm most of the way through it. Another one I saved
Yeah, yeah,
till we
yeah. So,
chatted.
well, I want to show to you. It's my channel, a bit of a self thingy. So my latest drawing video is
Oh, make
this.
yourself big again.
Um, so this is my
Yeah,
latest.
that's awesome. Yeah, cool.
So like I know I could draw a person or something like that, an emotion, but I was like picking why not? This is like vital part of the scenes where the guy approaches, and I was like, of course, I had my son in mind because my son is all about dinosaurs these days. So
Uh-huh.
kind of thing I wanted to do that. My
So
previous,
when you draw Paul Pope as opposed to drawing anybody else,
yeah,
is there, because I mean, to my eye, looking at the
yeah,
pages, I love his looseness in his art.
yeah.
Did that translate to like when you were looking at it to actually put on a piece of paper? How did it differ from other stuff you've drawn?
Because I basically had to use. I usually use the fountain pen
Hmm.
to draw, so it gives you very stiff lines, like
Yep.
very stiff, and then like one kind of line. There's no variations. But for him, I had to draw with not my comfortable zone, but it's a
Ah,
brush pen. So
yes.
that'll give you all sorts of lines, and
All
it's
sorts of
more,
variety.
yeah, and it will make it even worse in some ways because I don't draw. Don't forget, I don't do any pencils. I just go with it.
Yep.
Which is nerve wracking by itself, but it's very exciting. I almost kind of get like a high from this kind of thing if it were
Hmm. Hmm.
achievable. But yeah, it's was that's why I use this one because I've noticed in the comic book by itself. So that's why you have those line variations. It's not really kind of precise teeth and all that stuff had
It's
to be
not.
happening because that's what he did it in the comic itself. Where is that scene? I think I can clearly know. Do I? Where? Oh, there you go. And that's the one I was looking at.
Yeah, yeah.
So, he used extremely thin lines in every single bit. So I was like, oh, I can't do this fountain pen. Definitely not. Because then it just will look too much like a hairy
Hmm.
dinosaur. You don't want it to do that. So, and stuff. So, yeah. So tell me your thoughts about Backing Boy.
I absolutely love Paul Pope's art, like just to stay on that. And one
Yeah.
of the things that kind of impresses me about
Yeah.
it time after time is how
Oh, yeah.
loose it feels. And like a
Yeah.
panel like this, all
Yeah.
of that kind of busyness of the smoke and the mist and everything, I love it. Every single panel seems so active when you're
Yeah.
looking at his stuff. But then he can still pull off these. But honestly, out of all of the work in this book, this is the stuff that's least impressive to me because I
Yeah.
love the busyness of his pages when they're like filled
Uh-huh.
with characters, and in this case, filled with some really nice coloring as well too. Um, I really enjoyed this. I don't know how much I enjoyed the story. The story was just
No.
kind of it to me. There was a
Yeah.
couple of moments that I thought were good.
Yeah.
This creature design was probably my favorite. Sort of
Yes.
had a head that looked like Batman kind of thing. So, but I love his kind of, there's just energy in every single pose and every single person and
Yeah.
every single piece of background where, like, who the hell can draw newspaper wrapping around somebody's legs like that?
Yeah,
It's
that's what.
really, there's a
Yeah,
different energy to it, like
yeah,
it's really good.
exactly. It doesn't look stiff as well if for paper
Not at
being
all.
blown at his feet. And the
Yep,
garage geek saying that he can't warm up to his art at all. It's all of us in different, experiences towards what we like, what we don't. I must
totally.
say, honestly, I don't think I've read the story was drifting from my brain quite quickly.
Yeah,
I really like. I think I more was looking at his stylistically line. I think the most what I liked about is the beginning of the book because with this guy who got murdered because he was the hero, and
yeah.
this was absolutely fantastic. I actually kind of was thinking I'm going to draw that one, but then I was like, like more to choose, and then I just wanted, but I wanted, like I say, more challenge. This double splash page was really good, but honestly, I am thinking this book really is too small for his art.
Yeah.
to actually that, you know, like the busyness, like you say, the amount of details you can actually look through it if you take more time. And a
Yeah.
story itself is was like, okay, yes, we have gods and you have a city, there's the kids being kidnapped, and they are the gods, so we can decide to take your own son to kind of grow up to being what he wants to be, and he's basically dumped in the middle of nowhere without telling him that is going to happen, and there you go, deal with it, kind of thing, situation.
Yeah,
And
totally. Well,
honestly,
it's part of like your change into manhood kind of thing, right? Like
yeah,
you go off on a solo mission and figure it out.
yeah, and like they made it like this drastic decision and all that stuff, and then you have, you know, like other things happening. But honestly, I wouldn't say the story would be something I will remember about it. I will
Mhm.
definitely remember the art, which what I really came here for in generally.
Yeah.
I would love to have it a bit more intense in my brain to tell you exactly how, you know, like, oh, this is a really good read, you should go for it. I honestly can't even say that because, as I say, the story just went past me after I read it. And then now
Hmm.
scrolling through the pages, I kind of again recall all the situations, especially like he's like, oh, there's a cape. There you go. Daddy and mommy decided to make a decision for you. Put the cape on, and then it'll fly off this kind of
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
into
yeah.
abyss, which is kind of beautifully done. It's almost kind of Thor-esque styles things happening here again. The dad, the way he's dressed, and what his abilities and powers are, and then of
Hmm.
course you get end up being here, which is the guy who's a super like superhero, and his daughter who's not supposed to shed a tear because, you know, she is even not renowned because, you know, like that actually that was hers and blah blah blah. And then she's going into this like almost Batman cave with all his gadgets, and I
Yeah,
like that.
exactly.
That's where
Yeah.
my attention was. But then battle scenes and all that stuff somehow just, I don't know, maybe it's just because I've read it so many times,
Right.
similar story kind of type things. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
there for the art to
yeah.
enjoy myself with.
So there's two follow-ups to this,
Oh, is
and the
it?
art is by a guy named David Rubin,
Ooh,
who's a fantastic choice to
uh-huh,
follow up Paul Pope because Dave Rubin, this
uh-huh.
color palette really suits like a Dave Rubin style comic. So
Okay.
there's two parts, and I think the part after this
Yeah.
is a prequel, so it talks about that hero, that
Wow.
fallen hero a little more.
So,
Um, it was followed by two other volumes, The Rise of Aurora West and then The Fall of the House of West. So this one came out in 2013, and those other ones were after it, 2014 and 2015.
the
So
rise of.
the Rise of Aurora West, it was written by Paul Pope and
Mhm,
J.T. Petty, and then the art was David Rubin.
mhm.
Um, and then the last one was also art by David Rubin, but Paul Pope didn't write in volume 3. He wasn't
And
the writer on it. So
the name of the last one was the
um, it was
West something.
called The Rise of Aurora West.
Yeah, I got
And
that one.
then
And
the next one was The Fall of the House of West.
yes.
And it looks like, yeah, it looks like they were both put out by First Second, I think is what it's saying here. So
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
First Second. Yeah, both of them.
I'll give them. I mean, I'll keep it an eye on it if I ever see
Hmm.
it. I'll definitely go for it. But that's as I say, it's just, you know, like I think sometimes with superhero stories, that's the thing, you know, like not always is
Yeah,
gonna be that you're gonna blow your socks off, especially if we have been reading it for a while, you know, like
that's right.
those superhero storylines. And that's what happens. I like
I mean,
I
the only interesting thing about it is when his dad kind of saves him with that bolt of lightning that
yeah
strikes down that monster, and then the townspeople think that it's him, and he doesn't fess up to it. So there's I guess mildly interesting elements there as
yeah
far as like growing up, like especially if this is you're now entering manhood. How are you want to present yourself as a man? Do you
mm.
want to? My daddy had that one. Are you going to tell people that? How are you going to own up to it, or what are you going to do? Right. I just wanted to show a couple more pages where
Okay, go on.
his art was especially exciting to me. I love these pages. I
Mm-hmm.
love this so much. All of
Mm-hmm.
this kind of steel structures kind
Yeah.
of imposing itself on the panel there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also loved one of my favorite character designs, I think, are these guys here. I
Yes.
love all the bandages. Like those feel like bandages.
Yes.
Those aren't wrapped tightly on anybody's body. Even his top piece there is
Yes.
really ragged and stuff like. And that's I think what Pope is really good at with his style it
Mm-hmm.
gives the fabric a sense of like that's fabric. That's not
Yeah,
something that's tight to the skin. That's just barely hanging on. It's really, really great stuff.
exactly. So yeah, I enjoyed it as Battling Boy.
Hmm.
But art wise is more what I wanted to look at, and
Yeah.
it was really driving that kind of forward. Okay,
Hmm.
so do you want to pick up something you have? So we have not. I
Um,
don't think there's
sure.
any. Oh, the only one there's we can both talk about is your Jimbo. Did you get hold of that?
I did get it, but I haven't read it yet. But I do have
Okay,
it though.
I'll
I
keep
do have it.
aside for that. That was really good. This is was
I bet it was.
this one was like felt like, oh my god, there's so much going on here. Like last one was too fast. This one was like full on story and everything.
Cool.
Whatever. I was like one of my favorite of this actually like 5 issue story, The Crow, because
Yeah.
of there's a lot of things happening in here rather than just kind of like like happy two shoes, but this is just like it has to rumble on, like you can't just
Hmm.
have like like really quick action scenes and everything, because at the end of the day only one more issue is left, so you have to tell the story if you want to. So I really like this, but I'm gonna keep that so we can
Yeah, it's
aside so
shaping
we
up to
can.
be one of my favorite storylines too. Like I'm really
Yes,
enjoying it. It's
let's
it's
hope.
really solid.
Let's hope the ending will be done like like to a point and levels, because I think so
Hmm.
far this is really good for the like short storytelling he was talking
Hmm.
about. Okay, your turn, go.
So I read, quote unquote, I read these 2 issues,
Uh-huh.
Den Dwellers, issue number 1 and issue number 2,
Ooh,
by an artist named Henri
ooh.
Dumas,
Well, there you
uh,
go, you're doing it.
2017, 2017 and 2018, and it's from an Italian publisher, Hollow Press.
Ah,
And I would read more volumes of this. So, like, one of the things that I love sometimes about comics is
ah,
how they can kind of bridge the gap where they almost become animation. And this
uh-huh,
comic is really because it's basically about a character moving through these realities. So we kind
oh.
of have our opening page here with these pulsing orifices
Yes.
that are basically gonna shit out our character. And then
Oh
he kind of just
no.
moves from reality to
Oh,
reality throughout the rest of the book. But it is so amazing to look at, and I think
uh-huh,
this is one of those times where I personally don't think you could do this in the same way if it was in
uh-huh,
color. I think this is one where it kind of has to be black and white. I think it would be a different experience in color. Let me say that. So
mm-hmm.
then I also love the breaking up of the pages. So now all of a sudden, those 4 panels are one panel. The next 4 are one panel. So he's breaking up the page to this big kind of moment, right?
Yes.
It's so much fun to look at because of the tricks that it plays to your eyes, but also the movement. And it, like I said, because he's taken these small moments and really expanding on them with this 16 panel page,
Yes.
you really get more of a sense of like it's being animated as you're reading it. So
Yeah.
it's all silent, it's all very abstract. It's more about that as opposed to like any sort of storytelling. Unfortunately, he's only done 2 issues of this, but
Yes.
Hollow Press has a bunch of other stuff that's done by the same artist. And I
Mm-hmm.
was looking, Hollow Press also has pages where you can buy original art. Unfortunately, there's nothing being offered from this book, but this
Oh.
artist has a lot of original art up for sale on that website. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like book 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then book 2 just kind of continues off. So the only difference with book 2 is, I don't know, the printing is a little lighter, so it doesn't have that kind of bold black quality like the
Oh.
first one did. I still really enjoyed it. It's still the same kind of premise. Again, even playing with like the panel line, the border lines and things
Mm-hmm.
like that is pretty nice. And again, another example there of
Using
basically
the time.
4 panels on the page, but broken into that 16 again. So much fun. And honestly, another one where we often say like it would be nice to see some of this bigger. I think this works in this format too. I like
Mm-hmm.
this smaller kind of square format
Mm-hmm.
for this. It kind of makes all those shapes a little more intense. I feel
Yes.
like if they were blown up bigger, you'd lose some of that density on the page, which I think is a big part of that visual kind of playing that happens with your eyes there. But like, look at this. He's still not afraid though to get some kind of nice details in the background and things. It's
Mhm.
really, it's pretty damn impressive. And again, like, huge shout out to Fantasy Club Books here in town, because hollow press stuff is not cheap to get shipped to you in Canada, which is why I haven't ordered a lot from them. It's really goddamn expensive. So to have this shop in town that's got in a bunch of hollow press stuff, it's been an amazing experience to be able to see some of this stuff. My son bought a hollow press book from Jesse Jacobs as well from a Fantasy
Mhm.
Club. So it's sought after stuff, but it's so goddamn expensive that I
Mhm.
just haven't really placed orders for it. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so these were a lot of fun. And if you are an adventurous type and you know hollow press, I wouldn't shy away from these ones.
Yeah.
Really, really great reads, or art pieces, I guess, you know.
Mhm. Well, Garage Geek says it's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
so
Well, it's right up your alley. You like those kind of stuff, like those lines and all that
I totally
paneling
do.
going on. Yeah, and
Yeah,
actually, what it does really work, like you say, I think it's designed those eight, no, 16
16.
uh, panels. It works
Hmm.
really well stylistically. It looks exactly very pleasing to your eye. Exactly
Hmm.
meant to be that way. Princess is like intending to do that as well. So it's kind of good to see.
Hmm.
And Damon saying the Crow story has built really nicely. Yes, it did.
Yeah, it totally
So
has.
you saw your Jim boy. So I think you're definitely gonna say score points on that one.
Yeah, nice.
That issue when you're gonna read. Right. Mine. Oh, I'm gonna go a bit wild. I
Uh-oh.
just, no, no, no. Wild for me because talking
Oh,
about I'm talking about manga,
oh,
which
nice.
which I am not a reader of manga. I can tell you that one I am anime fan for sure, but manga reader not so much. But somehow I was watching one of the panels. People were talking about all sorts of books, but they mentioned this, and I am always like, well, we chat together. I usually have my phone next to me because I go browse and check my library if they have stuff like that, because mangas usually come out with a million of volumes, which I don't really sometimes want to even dwell into one, because then I want to continue reading. And it seems to be my library would have all of this. I think 7 volumes. So it's a story about a girl. Oh yeah, now I'm gonna be baffling my brain by flipping the page in the right way. Oh my god, that's gonna be weird. Um, it's a story about a girl who's. It starts with a color, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if mangas does that often, but anyway, it's the first story about one, two. Let me see. It starts really. Oh yeah, so about 6 pages you get the color. I don't know if it's intended to do so. There's this.
Oftentimes with manga, when it appeared in the magazines, they would have
Yeah.
color pages for a bunch of the stories. So it's
Uh-huh.
nice they reproduce those sometimes for these volumes as well.
Okay, so she did 6 pages only, and then it goes black and white. But there's mentioned Tokyo 2020, but there's the story actually is not in 2020. It's about like in the 50s, I think, if I'm correct. But what's the most important part of the storyline is this girl. So she's the main thing of it. Her name is Asa. She's not really happy about it. So she has about 10 siblings, about to be 12 apparently. And then we see her running, and the reason she's running like wind is, and she always gets bummed because people are confusing her with her siblings, and she's like, my name is Asa, not Achiko or something like that, like. And she's like, come on, I have siblings, yes, but I'm individual kind of thing. She's like telling you. But anyway, she's on the run to seek for a doctor, and while she's doing the run for the doctor, she has encountered the storm, and the storm is howling and going at almost to a point of like, oh my god, oh my god, how I'm gonna do this. Where her face is basically almost blown away from the panel. What I really liked about this one, simplicity of a story. So I really like the character already. She's intrigued by this one song she's heard. She even stops people as strangers let me say this way, or with the cast saying, "What's this music? What is this song?" And the guy's like, "What are you talking about? Were you interrupting me?" kind of thing. And then she never hears the name of the artist, and she gets obsessed by the storyline. But anyway, so while she's looking for the doctor, she still runs, finds the doctor. Doctor says, "Okay," she's like shushing him away. "Go, get to my mom because she's about to give birth to my sibling." And she's like, "I'll take my time. I'll do my own kind of way back." And he gives her a raincoat. And then while that happens, she gets to be kidnapped, and the story becomes more intense. I really like shadowing. What I really love about manga artists is the way they portray the emotions, which is absolutely key to a good storytelling, and having chops of emotions, like investing in character straight away. It's quite easy. Also, somehow it read really quickly. I guess I really got used to idea the way I have to read, because maybe because the story wasn't as complicated as like some maybe stories can be. So while she gets kidnapped, the kidnapper is kind of like sobbing his eyes out because she's like a loving little kid asking questions without having any kind of like, she's not afraid anymore kind of thing of people. Doesn't matter who you are, in which situation this would be. She ends up making him, the guy, cry his eyes out, telling his life story and why he was kidnapping her by mistake, by the way, because she has a coat of a doctor's daughter, and he thought that he's kidnapping a daughter of the doctor, where the doctors in those times were always rich, so he thought he'll get money back. There's also other background story about the boy who is going to run in the Olympics, and a kind of good kind of because there's Olympics happened in Paris, and Tokyo had the Olympics as well. Kind of good fit for the storyline while I was reading it. I really liked what it had to portray. And in generally, she basically, because of the storm happened, they hide away into this kind of warehouse got blown away because this tsunami happened really in the floods. And then when they opened the door finally, they found this absolutely crazy situation. I need to show you the page. Oh, where is it? It's already have passed breezed through that. Come on, that's a really good moment. Oh, sorry, do apologize. Never I should have keep a note. Oh no, I didn't. Come on, do it better. Oh, there you
Me
go.
all the time. I got to start marking down pages. Yeah, there you go.
And that's the page. What they open the doors, and this is basically they end up in shipping container because everything was blowing away. They
Hmm.
tumbled around. They didn't have lights. They didn't know what happens. They managed to open the door, and this is what they see afterwards. So for her, it's this like I don't know, is it naivety or is it just a good heart? She decides to take this guy who's kidnapped her to basically find her family, because she thinks one of those houses in the area, it's basically because the area is quite massive and it's been flooded for you can't see the end of it. She wants to see her family because she's like once again caring for all the siblings and family, and she goes with him to basically look for it and ends up being a person who's giving food away to all the people who are basically trying to be saved, and they are on the rooftops, looking for to be saved by authorities, with authorities who didn't want to do that for them. And then she ends up going into this lady's restaurant. She's making rice bowls. She decides to go in there because he has this tall tale to tell that she's going to give her free rice bowls. She has this conversation with her where she ends up basically promising her to give money back if she makes all the rice bowls in the world, because she wants to save and give people food because everybody is in distress. So she's really cool. And the amazing part about, as I say, I love the faces in manga
Hmm.
or in generally anime, and that has a good feeling. It's really cool story. It has lots of things. I'm not telling you all of it. It's like a lot of the kidnappers. Kidnapper is actually a World War survivor. He was used to be a pilot who's shipping, like was flying the soldiers to one location to another one. He was telling a story how he was having to maneuver the plane so low that if you will make a mistake, like you wouldn't survive. He survived this, and now he has to survive being homeless and jobless, and that's what his desperation made him basically start doing the stuff like kidnapping a girl in the middle of a storm. So yeah,
Mm.
and there's Asadora. There's seven, as I say, 7 volumes. See how
Hmm.
much I will continue, but she's very intriguing character so far, and apparently she made a big, huge difference. There's some factual stuff in the book as well. They were mentioning some stuff to make you more interested about, like in 1940, some Olympics were originally scheduled to take place in Tokyo, making the first non-Western city to win Olympic bid. However, the Games were moved to Helsinki amidst growing concerns over the intensity of a second Sino-Japanese War, which started in 1937. The Games were then cancelled altogether due to World War II. There wouldn't be another Olympic Games until London Games in 1948. So it gives you that kind of
Mm.
stuff. So it's intriguing. It's kind of things you find out. But I
That
I
is cool.
honestly,
Some historical context. Yeah, for sure.
yeah. But as I say, it's Viz Media, by the way, who's doing this.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, with like name as Adora, I'm expecting comic book about barbecues. So her name is Asa, and her name is Asa means something in the morning in Japanese. That's why they called it. So because it was an unexpected birth, like her all siblings were born like in the middle of the day, and they got the beautiful names. There's an explanation she was telling the guy also about. But anyway, it's a very heartwarming story. It's really easy to like her from the get go. She's like nothing to take care of herself. She's like always kind of like that old big heart in a small body, basically, and
Hmm.
that's what she is. So I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
So it was a good maybe find for manga read. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything over proportionally busy, like nothing intense of a storytelling because, as I say, the reading way, but made me kind of like at the beginning I remember a couple of pages I still didn't read correctly. I was like, oh boy, I have to go back now, and it's like flip my brain kind of. And then when I got into it, it was better, of course. So I
Yeah.
could read quite a lot of it and like getting the story properly. But like it's not something I do all the time.
My daughter's into one right now called Spy Family, a manga, and
Huh?
it's printed kind of the traditional back to front, top right to bottom left, that sort of thing. And I was asking her how it was for her getting her, and she's like, "Yeah, it's easy. It
Oh,
doesn't bother me. And again, it's like a kid thing, right? It's like their brains are still a lot, they're still malleable, whereas our
yeah,
stiff brains are like." Because sometimes I get confused too. Like I'm reading, I'm like, that didn't make sense, and it's like, oh, I was reading the page
yeah,
wrong. I was
yeah.
reading left to right, not you know what I mean? Like, but
Wow.
I love the reading experience of manga. I love that it's faster. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things that, like, even showing that book I was showing before, that Den Dwellers, I love that there's so much room in comics for all different types of storytelling that
Mm.
you sort of have to get into a different mode with some of these. And manga, I love that it reads fast, and the feeling that you get from it, right? It's really, yeah, when it works, it really, really works.
The thing, the quality of the artists in generally, the way they produce the work in such a quick fashion, their pages looks like like fast. It's
Hmm.
non. There's those moments that like splash page, you can just like, oh, look at it, because there's an like impression of grandeur in the piece of paper. So you kind of
Hmm.
like automatically your brain says, okay, slow down, just intake information. But still, when the minute you turn the page and it just gets fast again, and because those action scenes they do, and especially the words they use to that advantage, makes it much faster.
Hmm.
Like your pay kind of like, because the thing is with a panel work in here, the person was very consistent when it came to a page layouts. So you would have this like 5 6 page, and then you have only three, and then
Hmm.
maybe that would explain quite better. But also, as I say, it seems to be that like scenes like those where really bad things happens, you can see the rush into them, and that's, as I say, what I'm
Right.
talking about, those lettering action scenes like power whatever, but they use them to a point of everywhere, which makes it like as a speedy thing to happen because they have to rush, like, or
Hmm.
you have these scenes like that where it's this menacing figure where she's looking at, because there's not enough light to see his face, and you see
Hmm.
that emotion, it's just like you straight away know exactly how. It's not surprising, it's not something you're gonna question it anymore. But as I say, this is was like always, I'm sure my brain's still not working very well, but it's intriguing for me to have. That's why I had a even the panel page for this
Yeah,
video,
right.
because
I think
I think it's, yeah, go on.
I think those double pages too, the one you were showing where she looks out at the water and all these
Yeah,
houses and stuff,
yeah,
because of the density of the previous pages,
yeah,
it stands out even more as a
mhm,
moment to like stop and look, like it
yeah,
really
yeah,
stands out as like again, it's these tricks to kind of try to get you to be in the book, right? Like anytime you're telling a story, you'd
yeah,
love for the reader to kind of come into the book. And I feel like those moments you now become that character because now you're pausing as well. So you're sort of noticing it and kind of experiencing what this character is experiencing, right? Because you've
mhm,
had all those more denser pages,
yeah,
those really have more of an impact. I guess it's the same with superhero books where
yeah.
it's lots of action and then these big kind of spreads or whatever, right? To kind of slow you down and things. Yeah.
I honestly, I really like those color pages as well on that one, but it didn't just strike me when they went completely black and white. And I think
Hmm.
that's why Japanese manga in generally works really well in black and white because of the
Hmm.
crisp line they're using. I think the ink lines they are really portraying, as I say, it's like it has the good. It's never muffled. You know what I mean? There's lots of, you can just, because black you can be really too black sometimes if you don't use it correctly, and that's why it felt like this one just it was done right correctly, or way for your eyes aesthetically understanding what they want to portray. So yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
one of the good ones, and I
Yeah. Cool.
recommend it if you want some heartfelt storyline about a girl who's trying just to do a lot of things in one go. Or your turn. Were
Um,
you were you going
you
to?
need, as far as like marking pages, you need to get yourself some book darts. I
Eh?
got these at the radio station. There's always a box of just random stuff for free, and this was there one day, so I grabbed them. And they're just these
Book
little
dog.
copper arrows that kind
Oh,
of clip onto the page. So
dude.
I started using them as bookmarks, but they're also handy for if there's a page that you want to remember later on, you can stick those on the edge too. They're
Jeez.
super handy, actually. I kind of have them sitting here now all the time, and I'm starting to use them more because I do the exact same thing. Where the hell is that page? So now I'm going to try to remember to mark them.
Jeez, but
Yeah,
he's
that's
20,
that's
20
my
pounds for that.
advertisement for book darts.
Yeah, 20 pounds for that one.
20 pounds. I'll
Oh,
keep an eye out if they ever give some other ones because, like I
it's
said, there's
only,
always random stuff for free at
Jesus.
the radio station.
Why,
I'll keep an eye out.
10 pounds and the delivery is 15. Excuse me?
What? That's mental.
It's
That's
probably
mental.
maybe very, this is just specifically for that specific tin I'm talking about you showing.
Uh,
So maybe it's this specific, like 40 quid on Amazon.
Jeez.
40 pounds. Are you
Yeah,
mad?
that is mad.
Wow. Oof.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out. Maybe there'll be more. If there was one tin, maybe there's going to be some more.
Yeah, just make sure you don't cut your gentle skin like mine is.
Well, and that's yeah, exactly. Or the page. The other thing is too, like you can't put them all the way on the page because they will leave a mark on the edge. So I put them like kind of, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
16/18ths of the way. You know what I mean? Like pretty close to the end. But you have
Mm.
to be careful. But yeah, they are. Which is why again, it's as soon as I use them, I close the damn lid because I'm worried about dropping them.
Mm. Mm. Yep. And also
So
afterwards you're gonna stand up on it. Oh, you're going to help with Corbin. Ah.
yes. So I read
Mm.
it. I finished it last night.
Whoosh.
And
Whoosh. Fan?
yeah, what? Sorry.
Are you a fan?
I fucking loved it. Yeah. It was one of the things where like I had expectations of the Crooked Man story and it was
Mm-hmm.
great, but it seems like every single story just got better and better
Mm-hmm.
and the characters were great and the stories were so good. And the thing also, again, like being a huge Corbin fan, it's not like this is alien artwork for Corbin because he does a lot of stuff, but it makes me realize that how his style changed later in his career. Like I would
Mm.
consider this stuff very cartoony for Corbin, right?
Yeah.
Um, but still, this was one of my favorite stories. Actually, this kind of this lion god that they were sacrificing these women to, who were going willfully. Like, how good is that goddamn panel? As like this zombified god with a hole in his chest, and that skin coming away from his bottom jaw is just fucking ridiculously good. I love that. Was probably, again, I loved The Crooked Man, but I think this was my favorite story out of the whole book. And you get these guys to what the hell? There was a series of movies done about these kind of characters as well, and I'm just blanking on the name. Tomb of the Blind Dead and Ship of the Dead and all these kind of things. So, but so I mean, you already had the bonus of I'm a big Corbin fan, so already I'm going to love it. But honestly, the stories were so good. This story where he kind of becomes a part of this team with these Mexican wrestlers who give up wrestling because they've spoken to the Virgin Mary in the church, and they're going to go back demons and stuff. So goddamn good as kind of like a one shot.
Yeah.
And also kind of giving some backstory into Hellboy's life as far as what he's experienced throughout his long time on Earth, and kind of still continuing.
Are they called
go ahead.
Are they called Macho Libre, those guys, the Mexicans?
I think that's what they're called. Yeah, I think and then one of them dies, and he ends up he wasn't there to save him, and he ends up coming back as this Kamazots, and they end up fighting. And he's been he was attacked by vampires, so now he's a vampire. So it's him and Hellboy kind of face to face in the ring. And Hellboy helps put him out of his misery and stuff, and really, really good shit. And he says that once this guy died, he lost a few months of his life where he was drinking, and he doesn't really know, and maybe that's for the best that he doesn't know. So of course later in this one we get one story where it goes back into that world. It was just an absolute pleasure to read, and again the beauty of being able to create a universe that you can just tell these kinds of stories. And sure, there's maybe an overarching arc to it, but you get these little moments where again, Hellboy becomes almost like a horror host. This was a really good one too. This house that was alive, luchadors. Yeah.
Yes.
This was a house that was alive that wanted this guy to kind of sacrifice people. So he tricks Hellboy into coming into the house. And it's a solid story as well. I guess I wasn't necessarily surprised. I was just glad, and he finds underneath the house there's this giant corpse, this giant body with a beating heart that he kind of drives a stake through the heart. It's not that I was surprised. I figured I would like it, but I guess as usual, it's nice when you enjoy something more than you already thought. I knew that I would like it, but I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to like it. And I can absolutely see why people become addicted to the Hellboy universe and really get into it, because this was an absolute pleasure. And this format, this bigger size, was beautiful for Corbin's art. He's dealing with a lot of bigger panels anyway. But it really is nice in this kind of where's a regular comic in this size as well. So there's a regular comic just for kind of comparison there. So
nice.
Yeah, really nice to see his stuff presented like this. Hell of a good read. Hell of a good read.
So Den book of his, are you enjoying them, or what's your feel?
I mean, yeah, the wrestlers. Yeah. I like, the thing is with the Den stuff, I like it. There's no doubt about it. But so for Den Volume 1 Neverwhere, I've read that story so many times that I'm not as into it anymore. Like, it's not that it's bad. It's just that I kind of want the other stuff from Corbin. So Den Move Ovum, so far in reading it, because I'm not done it yet, it's fine. It's more, those ones are more about the art. With Corbin, I like the other stuff better. I appreciate that Den was the character that he cut his teeth on, and that's the one he's mostly known for. But I want to get to like the Blood Stars. I want to get to the what was it? New Tales of the Arabian Nights. I want to get to some of his other stuff that he did because I just think that stuff is better.
Mm.
Dan is good, but I think the other stuff is better. And knowing what I know about what he ends up doing, even his underground stuff
Mm-hmm.
is so good. You know, like the stuff that's in like these collections. It's so great, and so it's just this hurdle of we got to, you know, I understand that Dark Horse has got to publish all the Den stuff first. I'm just waiting to get over that hurdle so we can get to the other material because there's another volume coming whenever
Oh,
it's coming, sometime in the next couple of months. I hope for Den Book 3. So yeah,
so it's three of them, yes.
I think I don't know how it depends on how thick it is because I think no, volume 1 and 2 are about the same thickness. They're a tiny bit thinner than Murky World, which was the first Richard Corbin book that Dark Horse put out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be one more volume. We'll see. And that next volume will be stuff that appeared in his Fantagore press, where
Oh,
he kind of went away from always drawing Den naked, for example. So like he changed his style a bit
mm,
to kind of tell those stories. And again, those stories are fine because I've
yes.
got the single issues. But I don't know, man. Give me the next stuff. Give me the stuff that's not Den. I want that.
Mm-hmm. So do you think they have? Oh, sorry. Do you think they have announced anything like the actual production plan, or is it not? It's unpredictable because sometimes they just cancel it and we never hear about it. Is that what's
The
gonna
only
happen?
thing that I've seen, and it actually is in the back of this, the only
Oh,
thing that I've seen is this as an ad. So they show the first 3 volumes of Den. They show
yes,
Murky World, and they show that they had the creepy Corbin collection as well too, and then the stuff down here. So
yes.
that's as far as they've kind of officially announced in any sort of advertisement. Now they
Mhm.
may have announced something further on the website, but I haven't looked at the
Yeah.
Dark Horse website. So as far as I know, that's kind of as far as they've kind of officially announced what's going to come out. So,
Hmm. So going back to Hellboy, is that means that you're gonna read more Hellboy, or
oh yeah, for sure I will. Yeah, absolutely. And I
uh,
think it's one of those things that I'd like to get them kind of in these bigger collections, you know, because
mhm.
I don't just have, I just don't have room for, not that I have room for collections either, but I absolutely don't have room for that many single issues, right? So
Oh
I
yeah,
might
yeah,
look
yeah,
for it in a format like this. I think would be great to get some hardcover formats because I love, and again, this was one like I laid it out on the table. It opened perfectly fine. You know, it scared me once or twice because you get the creaks of the pages in the spine as it opens, but it lay perfectly flat. It was really a joy to read for my old eyes, you know, like that's
mm,
pretty damn good, you know. So yeah, I'm impressed with what they do. And I love this fabric edge as well too. I
that's
think is really sharp.
the only thing is bugs me after a while that you kind of like the wear you can see on the cloth, because cloth has a rubbing thing. If you can
Mhm,
keep on take it out, like my uh forgot the name. You know, the giant robot and that guy Frank Miller storyline. So
yeah.
it's red. Maybe it's because it's red, but it's more visible. Or it's, I don't know, but it bugged me a little bit. But it's just, like it's a
Mhm,
thing. It's a thing. But I really like that cloth though. I think it's very
yeah.
unique way of Dark Horse to actually put. And generally, they were very good productions when it comes to like a hardcovers. This definitely was like a safe bet if you want something hardcover from Dark Horse. Usually, you're gonna get a good things happening because they always use a very good printers. Apparently, to some point, but I'm not really sure how it is now.
Mhm,
But yeah, I always like those. You like library ones, the Hellboy library ones, which is like about
mhm,
6 volumes. It's quite a hefty amount of dineros just to chop on all of them,
I bet.
but they're really beautiful on the bookshelf.
Mhm.
Um, if you want, I can send you my volume one.
Oh, I wouldn't say no to it. That's insane though. That's probably really expensive to send over here, but I mean, I
Yeah, well,
wouldn't say
let
no.
me see if I'm gonna go that mad. But yeah, we never
Yeah.
know. Oh, hello, Chaos. What's
Hello, Chaos and Comics. Chaos and Comics had a video. He's back doing videos again, and
yeah?
it was a really good one. Actually, surprisingly, it was a good one. I'm kidding, obviously. He
What's
was
the whole
talking about
video?
Fantagraphics books and stuff, and he was talking
Yeah.
about the single issue that they put out. They put out 2 this so far, best
Oh.
of 2023, and then there was a best of 2022.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, so check out his check out his channel to check that out. The other thing I saw since Chaos and Comics is here,
Mhm.
Branu Pratap, who did one of my favorite reads of whatever year it came out. This one here, Mother, is it called Dear Mother and Other Stories?
Mhm.
He's finished a new book, so I don't know when it's going to come out, but he also did, I think he did the cover on the 2022 edition of that Fantagraphics best of. I don't have either of those because I can't find them up here, but this guy is an amazing artist. And this Strangers Publishing put this one out.
Oh,
So
no.
I'm very excited that there's new work for him from him coming out.
Where's Strangers Publishing thing?
Strangers Publishing is the United States. There was
Oh.
this, there's a Bubbles zine. There's also a
Mhm.
Strangers comic zine as well. And they got yeah, it was probably close to number one for me. It was so goddamn good. Um, so then they started publishing their own stuff as well
Wait.
too. So and
Mhm.
this was an absolute highlight. And they've done a bunch of amazing books. But again, it's just a place that it's not easy to
Uh-huh.
order from. Like the way he mutates the human form and figure is really mind-boggling. It's so kind of abstract. It's quite an experience reading his work. So I'm very excited to see what else he has next coming. So
Do you think he
yeah,
has
yeah, beautiful.
uh, partaken some mushroom taking while drawing this
Yeah.
beautiful?
I don't think so. I mean, I've seen an interview with him. He seems fairly straight-laced. He doesn't seem like a big stoner, you know. It just works. His art just works for big stoners, I guess. That's the
The,
thing.
it looks very psychedelic, so that's why
Yeah.
I'm mentioning the mushroom intake.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the fluidity lines and all that kind of like that's what you think. Okay, phone, I know it's about sleeping time, but God forbid, come on, I'm still chatting. Oh, I forgot, but we still talk together about this precious metal.
Yeah. I don't have it close, but yes.
I got hold of it, a copy. That took a while to arrive, but it did. It was packed absolutely horribly. It had a couple of damaged stuff going on.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, but they can't. That's the thing. Relying on some people to send you a single issue is not really good. Not a
Hmm.
fan. But anyway, this is very surprising to me. I was a bit at a loss to at the beginning of it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why was that, but I think because they went jumping into his past and opened the kind of a new chapter of storytelling to get this character more depth and how everything happens.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed how they approached the story to tell. Kind of, they didn't only give you a jump from the beginning now. Or maybe I'll do this one so people can actually see. um and it's how they were saying the story at the beginning and they came back to it right at the end of the comic, which is really helpful because it just kind of reiterates an idea of what kind of a person we got the main character we're looking at, and that he has memory problems. Am I correct in saying that
Yeah. There's
he's
he's got some blind spots as far as like his
yeah.
childhood goes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he also has. Is he a father? Am I correct to
He's the father,
understanding?
yeah. So
Yeah.
that woman and that boy are his, or at least
Yeah.
that's what I inferred from it, that's his wife and son. Yeah.
Yes. So I really like the colors thingy. So it kind of
Gorgeous,
changes
man.
the way that his wife is supposed to be a happy place and kind of thing like it really muted differently to
Hmm.
whatever you can actually see from the get go. And then that she's sheltering. I think it's a girl or it's a boy that she's sheltering. I think it's her. Well, I'm not
Oh,
sure.
that could be mistaken. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
because the way she looks here.
A kid,
Maybe.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, a kid anyway. So he has a problem. So he has never been a very like when she announced to him that he's gonna be well, she's pregnant, and then she kind of told him like, "Don't worry." And then he's like, first thing in his mind to say to her was, "Well, I'm not sure how to be a father." And then she's like, well, not something you can. And then some, and that's the only thing he kind of recalls in that moment. And then we jump back into his ship where he's kind of flying. Oh, because he went to visit her once again, and that's why those memories are kicking back again. And of
Mhm.
course, he's going through to find that kid, which is was kidnapped by the Temple of 12. Yes,
Yep.
it's kind of like sometimes I can recall, like the story is kind of becoming more complex now because there's more pages to open. So it's kind of like really beautiful art. I mean, that
Mhm.
can distract completely, but the storytelling is actually quite intriguing as well. Because the first thing they do, they go into, they apparently find the Temple of 12. They see the kid they're supposed to be how getting back, and then you have all those pages where he's basically going through things. Okay, this
So
is like
cool.
that's such a beautiful page.
God
um
damn. Yeah.
yeah, and I really liked it. What is this? Oh, why I'm blanking now. I wanted to say this specifically what came in mind. Oh, assimilated. What is those people? Wow.
Oh, the
That's not
Borg.
the Borg. Yeah. So this
Mhm.
is Screen Borg. I'm coming to you. Like because of the way his art is portraying this, and it's
Uh-huh.
how I mean so much detail into
Yeah,
each
it's
cube.
crazy.
I mean, how
Yeah.
long did it take you to do this?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's not just like I hope I presume it's like he's drawing without like a medium, or is he doing computer? Because I think it's he's drawing with a medium. Yeah, I presume not computer style. Yes. Or
Mhm.
do you know
Mhm.
how does it draw? Because this is kind of crazy. The amount of detail of the cubing and everything is looks so well. And then she like there's this lady appears. Is it his wife? I'm not sure. I got confused about. But anyway, it's really cool. I mean, this story jumps in back and forth to his childhood as well, or to those moments of where he wasn't kind of like he's there to meet her again. So it's his wife again. And then they talk, having these conversations. He goes to the bathroom to almost like puke himself to it, but then he jumps into nowhere. So I really like it. I mean, I'm a bit kind of maybe confused at some times, but I still absolutely beautiful book to look at, and
Mhm.
of course to read. And it's the storyline is intriguing, especially when they take the kid. Okay, they actually goes through all this crazy scenes. This guy, the bird, kind of like guy, which he swallows him to protect him or to suffocate him, and they find the kid. They open and lock his cage, but it's not the same kid they were looking for.
Mhm. Mhm.
They duped them. So this is kind of intriguing story in that sense. But all this color in the in introduction to the comic book is also very helpful. And this is my favorite. When it goes pink, this is something else. It seems to be. It just works.
Mhm.
So precious metal, people.
And each of those pages, the way he lays out a page with those long panels, the more
Mhm.
I see it, and even watching it here as you're showing
Yeah,
it on
yeah.
screen, it looks amazing even on screen. It gives it a different
But
sense of a comic storytelling again. Yeah.
no, this is next cover, and it's as
Mhm.
stunning as everything else as well.
Did you see that Trad Moore did a variant for issue number 2?
No.
No, I've got to get my hands on it, but he did a variant for issue number 2, just like he did
Uh-oh.
on Little Bird. He did a variant cover for one of those. He's done one
Mm-hmm.
for this. Daniel Warren Johnson, I think, is doing a variant for issue number 3.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm sure those are going to be priced through the roof, though.
Oh. Because especially now with Daniel Warren Johnson and getting an Eisner's. And
Oh
Mister is
yeah,
a,
hey, yeah,
a high-end artist now and writer.
yeah,
Actually, a
crazy. Oh,
writer.
geez.
He got the chops of writing as well now. So I mean, he has
Wow,
been recognized prior
la
to
di
that,
da.
but he's a
What
chop
did he
chop.
get an Eisner for?
I think he will.
Transformers.
Yes,
Oh, was
which
it
I
really? Oh, I was totally being sarcastic. I was totally being an asshole.
this one I'm reading. No, no,
Hilarious.
it's the very it's the best-selling comic book for I don't know how long now. Apparently,
Right, so
so
that's why he got an Eisner, or because it was actually good writing compared to the rest of the comics?
well, I'm not. I cannot tell you how that. I actually listened to some people talking that Eisner Award is becoming like Hollywood selecting an Oscars
Yeah.
nomination because everybody's in the same boat. Everybody knows each other. Now we're only
Yeah.
gonna give to people we kind of know, blah blah blah. I don't know that. The only thing I
One
can
year,
tell
only
you.
black people will win all the awards because they feel guilty, so they'll try to overcompensate. And yeah, 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 turning into what
Or like,
award shows are, basically a load of
yes,
bullshit.
but that's what it's usually is. But at the end of
Yeah.
the day, if that, let's say what the artists and writers and generally those kind of things kind of elevates them into getting more money, getting into the business or whatever, whatever.
Right.
I think Daniel Warren Johnson has been doing that for a while now, and he's consistently doing really good things. But not only
Hmm.
what he's doing that artistically is really good, but he's elevating himself to doing something like that, which is one thing he's extremely passionate about, which is really helpful to do. Like
Yeah.
you want to, like, imagine doing the job you always dreamed of. It's like that kind of situations. Of course you will take all things and possibilities. So while I'm opening, I'm going to talk to you, even though no, it's your turn. Your turn. You
Okay.
talk. You talk
I
about
just got
comic.
I just got one more because I
Oh,
didn't
okay.
read anything else.
Okay,
And
what you having?
it's one of the ones that I got from my last order
Hate.
from Lone Star. So Hate annual issue number 7.
Uh-huh.
Um, so Hate Revisited is coming out. It's 2 issues so far, and it just got me
Yes.
thinking about filling the gaps because I only need one more issue. It is
Oh.
currently on its way to me in the mail from our friend Colin Blanchett.
Oh.
Apparently, there's stuff in there for you as well, too, including a copy of the new canon. So I'll
Oh
be
wow,
sending
thank
something
you in advance
sooner than
already if
later.
you're watching.
So he's picked up the final issue for me from the Fantagraphics store, so I'm looking forward to it. And I really enjoyed issue number 2 of Hate Revisited, but it
Uh-huh.
was really great to kind of go back in time to kind of, I mean, this is the very end of his kind of first run. Like I said, there was only one more annual after this, and then he was gone from doing any Buddy Bradley stories. But it's good to kind of dip your toes back into this world because, like I've said a million times, it's a character that I really resonated with me. I kind of grew up with this. I identified with Buddy Bradley at times. I guess I probably still do if I'm honest with myself. There's some things that he says within the books where I'm like, yeah, exactly, so, but it's also really funny. And with Chris in the chat here, he was talking about in his video that humor generally in comics doesn't work for him. I can absolutely see that because it is something really hard to achieve in comics, I think. But I think this one just does such a good job of, again, I love stuff that points out the absurdity of kind of every part of our existence. If you really sit and look at it, it's pretty goddamn absurd. I
Mhm.
love that at this stage of the game, Buddy Bradley's look is wearing this sailor hat and an eye patch. He doesn't need those things. He's just adopted this look for himself. And it's just about these junkyards, this junkyard next door and his buddy Jay, who he got into business with during the Hate run. He's a guy that was big into old records and kind of
Mhm.
things, and they had quite a history together. So Jay ends up working for the junkyard next door and bringing in money. So it just really good storytelling from Bag as usual. Then you also get, he had this character called Bat Boy that he did in this newspaper called Weekly World News,
Oh.
which was a total kind of rag of a newspaper. Really,
Uh-huh.
really funny headlines. Like one of the ones that I remember very clearly was Earthquake releases demons from hell, dot, 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 again, which I thought was spectacular. The dot, dot, dot again was some genius level writing. So he did this comic strip for the Weekly World News for a while. So they've
Mhm.
collected, I don't know if this is all of the stuff, but they collected a bunch of it in here. It's just okay. It's not my favorite. With Bag stuff, I tend to Neat Stuff and the Hate universe and Buddy Bradley, to me personally, is the stuff that I love the most out of all of his books. The other
Mhm.
books that he's done that I've dipped into, they've always just been okay. They've never really struck me in the same way as the Hate universe stuff. But and I think there's something else at the back of this as well. So these annuals were pretty thick. Yeah, East Coast, West Coast, blah, blah, blah. I haven't actually read this one yet. So I think it's
Mhm.
him kind of, poking fun at East Coast versus West Coast of the United States and the supposed differences. And I'm sure he's got one or two things to say about it. So another little color section. So Yeah, Hate, and like I said, if you're interested, the first two issues are out of Hate Revisited. Issue 2 is kind of, it's really back into classic Dan Clow, or sorry, Dan Clowes. It's classic bag Hate era stuff, because that second issue is really, really good. So even if you're not crazy about the first issue, give the second one a chance for sure.
Oh, cool. So is it? Do you think it's a beginner friendly? Those two issues came out or not?
I think so. I mean, you could read them for sure. I don't know if you'd get as much out of them as someone who's kind of followed, because there's a lot of history there. Like especially in issue 2, they
Mhm.
reintroduce a bunch of characters, like his best friend Stinky, who's dead. There's people that don't know that Buddy Bradley had a hand in kind of disposing of the body and stuff. So there's those kind of reveals. So there's going to be things that you're going to miss. I think it's way more rewarding if you've kind of followed it the whole way through. But I think you could probably read it, pick it up. I just don't know if you'd get the same thing out of it. It would be a completely different reading experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not sure if I've ever seen in like, because I know it's quite sometimes when it comes out, especially in nicer format, it usually gets sold out quite quickly and it
Yeah.
becomes like a niche thing now to get hold of. Because is it true that maybe is there easier to collect in like floppies, not floppies, but I mean in
They did,
trade paperbacks? Maybe it's
yeah,
better.
they did trades. They did trades that were kind of this size, because I've only got one of them. So Buddy does Jersey, and this collects. It doesn't say on the back, but it's a good chunk of the
Oof,
neat stuff.
was
It's
quite
a
a
bit
bit.
of a smaller. It's a bit of a smaller format,
Yeah.
but
Go
like if
on.
we look at just the regular comic, it's smaller. But
Oh.
for this kind of stuff, you're not reading Pete Bagg because he does these gorgeous backgrounds and he really does these amazing things where you need to see it. His art looks really good even at this size. He's got a really clean style, like you can see on Buddy there. I mean, it's a beautifully clean style, and I think it works just as good in this size. It's not something where you need an a European graphic album version of his
Mm.
art. Not that it would look bad, but this is sharp in this size. So it is released like this. Fantagraphics also put out a box set, a hardcover box set of all the neat stuff, and I think they did, because they did the 8-ball one. I don't
Yeah.
remember if they did a Hate one as well too. Possibly they did. So I think it was like a 2-book slipcase. My boss just pulled his Hate run out of his collection to sell. Oh, that's I hope it goes to someone good. I hope it goes to someone who's going to appreciate that shit, because
Look at
that's a hell of a thing to sell.
look at eBay. £10 for Hate Revisited #2.
£10, really? Hey, yeah. I mean, you can still get it right from Fantagraphics. That stuff always surprises me when
Yeah.
people are selling it for that much, when it's brand new. It's not out of print all of a sudden. Like you
Mm.
can still get it. I don't understand those prices.
Yeah. But that's
Probably
what
one of those
happens.
situations. Someone out there is buying it for that price. So
Yeah, some idiot is doing that. And that's what
yeah.
they're driving the prices up. Anyway, cool. I'm glad to ask. Okay,
Mhm.
so the Transformers. I was talking about Mr. Warren Johnson, but now we have a different, like we have been now having the Jorge Corona in on art, and it's actually becoming more and more like, okay, I'm used to this now. I'm really liking what he's doing. This the story of Energon universe. Apparently, you're supposed to read all the books, of course, and they have a ginormous amount of them. So just to make it a bit more complicated for everybody else, you have Scarlet, Nestro, Void Rivals, and somebody else. Um, Cobra Commando, something like that. So a hell of a lot in the universe, but this is what kickstarted it. It seems to be. I think Void Rivals came out first, and that's by what is Walking Dead writer's name? Terrence.
Kirkman.
So yeah, so I think he writes the Void Rivals, and it's really nice
I think
storyline.
so. Yeah, I think he's Void Rivals as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really good storyline. It's about two species. I was telling you, I was reading the volume 1 of it, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. But this Transformers is continuously intriguing me enough to continue. honestly who is what, and I always get too confused and explain to you guys, so I will not do so. But we are having this one of the Transformers who has jumped in time, who is basically, it looks like he's doing the watches kind of work. So he saw the first landing, he didn't interrupt anything, let them land there, put the flag out, and let them fly out, and nothing, he didn't get himself involved in. Then he is going to other worlds with exploration kind of things. He's enjoying, and then he was the first to land on Earth. That's how we have all these Transformers on Earth, basically fighting like a playpen between two species of Transformers, which I'm blanking name of now. Autobots and Decepticons. Oh my god, my brain
Right. Yeah.
worked.
Got it.
And he was the first one to actually be on Earth. And they were asking him a questions, why wouldn't you wake us up? And then he's like, well, I'm not getting involved, and I want to be part of the war. Then the kid in the wheelchair got saved by him as the first involvement of him. And I kind of forget why he's there and how he got saved in that sense. But the way the Decepticons are destroying the world, so they go into this world, they see it a magnificent animals in the air flying around, and they say like, oh, this is a fantastic place to do our bidding. And they switch on this ginormous machine which takes everything out of the world, sucks out all the energy out of it, in order for them to gain all the resources, which is what their whole plan is, to be to do so in on Earth. Um, Lots of scenes of fight, lots of people like the Transformers meeting each other. It's really well told storyline. And honestly, I kind of like, I'm breezing through this to tell you exactly what it is. I know it's in my brain, but when I start to telling you about who and what it is, I get confused myself. So that's why I cannot really intel saying fully what the story is. It's really good read. It's full of actions. There is intrigue for me to understand them a bit more, and I'm learning. Okay, this is what it is all about. I'm not a reader of Transformers. This is brand new for me. So for me, it's all to know all of the stuff. Is kind of a complicated in general in the brain. But one thing I really like this, for example, this is destruction of the world. So, oh, let's destroy a world. Oh, don't worry, we're just gonna approach it a little bit closer so we can damage it a bit more. And this is, as I say, this is Earth. They're trying to do that. And don't forget, there's the flag, there's a moon, and this is us, and this is them, because they're approaching it, and there's a bah ha ha kind of thing, like laugh in the matter of, this is exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna harvest you. We're gonna destroy everything, whatever you are all about. And there you go. But then hopefully Autobots will do something about it, and we'll have a peace, and we're gonna just watch stars like that. And
I have a feeling. I have a feeling everything will be okay. Just a hunch. Just a hunch.
and always I read, and the only thing I only hear, Autobots roll out. And hopefully
Yeah.
yeah. So hopefully they will do. I finally got to read issue 4, Sandwich,
Yeah. Sweet.
which is it's still very good. I'm not sure about the cover. Not really a big fan of the cover, to be honest. I really like the cover prior to that. I'll show you. Oh, come on, come on. Where is the cover? Surely I've seen it. I wasn't dreaming. Oh, come on. No, I can't see it now. Oh, maybe I was watching it on somewhere, because I when I don't read, it seems to be like, because I sometimes inconsistently get my comic books. I sometimes forget to order. I thought that I forgot this to order, but it came out in like really awkward time of the month, so that's why I just received it. So Todd McFarlane and John Goff and Simon Kudarski is the artist. And the mystery of the murders continuously happening. A lot of murders happening. These men, their bodies, they keep on finding a lot of bodies with different parts of other persons. So, and they don't. It's becoming to a point where it's too many, and all the coppers in that small town as getting kind of panicky mode, because of they don't know how to deal with it properly. Even though Twitch is there to help them, there's a background situation happening in here, like a raid to a family, which is kind of got distracted for me at the beginning of the storyline. What main concern is this lady doing her chores, and then she sees the body of Scarecrow, supposedly, but then there's crows approaching it way too often, and she sees the guy, uh, which is basically looks kind of alive, and she freaks out and basically has a heart attack. Not spoiler alert, it's just what happens, you know. And of course, Twitch is still having marital kind of issues. His Sam, detective, is keeping giving him voicemails asking him, why did you leave me? I know we're not getting along anymore. The job, you're escaping the job. Are you escaping the job because of your wife is not happy with what you're doing and how much you're dedicating your life to this? Or is it because we have this like argument and you're tired of me? And he is basically trying to explain, Twitch is trying to explain to his wife that, look, I'm just doing the job, I'm trying to help. And she's like, well, I'm never going to see you again, you're just being at work, and I'm just mending your children kind of thing. I'm not being like, life is too complicated, I'm not seeing that enough of yours. But it's the story itself is really very cool, and this body part situation and mystery around surrounding it, it's keeping me interested, you know, like,
Hmm.
intriguing enough how, everything will be solution. They can't even have, they don't even disclosing any clues, because it seems to be all of them are not having enough to understand, because everything is with different DNAs. There's so many of them that the coroner of a small town can't deal with it in the quick time kind of situation. So, and yeah, it's intriguing enough to read, and I'm warming up to art. I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of this. I'm getting better with this, speech bubbles, because they started putting this scribble at the bottom of it, which kind of
Mm.
makes it easier for you reading wise to who you're looking at, especially in complicated like 5 people page. So you kind of know who's actually having a conversation, because sometimes you're like, who's talking? Because it used to be just lines, if I recall it correctly.
Hmm.
So yeah. Anyway, interesting. And then of course, what's a bit of a spoiler, but sorry, there's only two of you apparently watching, still having attention enough. Um, this the guy is about to kidnap, or he already did kidnap a girl who's in the bar, and because he, I think, kidnapped this boy, her boyfriend already, and nobody's believing in it, the small town. So she goes into the bar, drinks herself to no return, but like pukes, and this guy approaching her, kind of, oh, let me help you. Yeah, where do you live? Okay, there's the key. Opens the door. Oh, you're so sexy, and then ends up like showing, oh, sorry, your dad is watching, and there's the page, splash page at the end, which is a bit gory, but hey, there, that's your daddy watching.
Cool.
So yeah, that's kind of intriguing me enough. It's Dark Universe, it's Spawn Universe at the end of the day, so you
Mm.
wouldn't be surprised
Yeah, it's not
that
going to
it
be
is.
Superman.
No, it's not going to be lovey-dovey storyline either, but I
Hmm.
enjoying it. And don't forget, very easy to enjoy it when it's 2.99 still,
Hmm.
which is very
The
refreshing
Jared
sometimes.
Osborne special.
Yeah, which is very, very refreshing to actually have that in your pull, because it's goddamn five, and like for the Usagi now, which is, it's quite.
Batman Dark Age, that's like a 5.99 book.
Mhm.
Zatanna that I'm reading, that's like a 5.99 book.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why I
like
don't.
it just
I have
it
only.
adds up, man.
Yeah, it gives me just couple. Oh, also, one of your things as well, the Doomsday thingy, because of Usagi Jimbo, and I
Oh yeah.
can tell you one thing. I absolutely love the way Usagi was drawn in that time.
Hmm.
It's so much more petite,
Yep.
so much more like a rabbit,
Yep.
so much more. I don't know. It's just, and this when he does. Wait, I'll show you that. The comedy part of Rabbit is fantastic. Those eyes, the everything scenes, the way he's like being making me surprised. Looks a bit smallish kind of thing, like
Uh-huh.
in paper, but it just
Uh-huh.
looks so much more different to what it was when we were reading it recolored or redone or whatever. These days Usagi Jimbo is like, because Usagi Jimbo, don't forget, has grown in not very speedy way, but they still have grown like, aging. I meant
Yeah.
he's aging, so surely you will change. But this is really good. Oh no,
So
what
it's
you
the
showing? No,
Oh
you
no, you've
can't.
seen it before. I think this is the black and white version of that same story, no?
Oh
It's the
yeah.
same thing. So, but I agree with you. Like, I really like this early because this collects
Mhm.
a bunch of early stuff.
Mm.
of Usagi, right from the not like pre-Fantagraphic stuff. It was
Yes.
published by Fantagraphics,
Yeah.
but I agree with you. I really like that kind of
Yeah.
it's a little more cartoony somehow, but
Yes.
I dig that body shape, and they continue it through with the other stories for quite a while. There's
Hmm.
that kind of style sticks around for quite a while. But yeah, it's so good, man. I'm glad you
Mm.
like that one. Yeah, that was his first time in color, apparently, from what I read online.
So NECA is producing Usagi Jumbo figures, which Stan Sakai was selling, but now NECA
Oh,
is gonna put it out, and they will have black and white in color as well.
shit, man.
I know.
Jesus
I already
Christ.
looked and I was like, oh,
Did you
Rafa, don't
really?
do this. Yeah, it's not. It's on pre-order. I don't know if they
Yeah.
have. You can. Oh, yes, Lefty Blues. Welcome. A bit late, but welcome
Hello,
anyway.
Lefty.
Thank you. But yes, Dansakai you can't get wrong with. Yeah, figures are. I went to a website.
Oh,
You see it already? Yes, you're looking at
I
it
see
now.
that. I mean, I see the black and white one, which is fucking gorgeous. But I think we've
Uh-huh.
talked about it before
Yes.
because there was a
Yeah.
couple of there was ones before. Oh, dude,
I think
wow.
I think they reissuing it again
Jeez.
because I think of popularity.
Yeah, here's
I think
one. I'm looking at one now that's different from the black and white one I've seen before, and
the
another black and white one where he has like a space helmet on, and
yes. There's
oh,
the space one. It used to be like special edition before. The space one
wow.
had those boxes which you opens like the window inside and you can see
Yep.
what it's in. So a bit more higher, I guess what higher format kind of. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know those terms
Holy
for the
shit.
action figures. But yeah, I looked it up already
Those
because
look amazing. Those look amazing.
and I wouldn't mind
It's
having
so
at
good.
least one.
Yes, I
So like
agree.
what I say to my
Or
son,
all of
maybe
them.
I write a letter to Santa and hopefully finger crossed Santa will treat me really well.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do the same thing and ask for that, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean,
I always look out for figures in generally. I want my son to be more into
so
stuff
cool.
like that
Yeah.
because it's kind of like if he's enjoying it, then me I'm gonna enjoy it because I'm a big child no matter what. So
Yeah.
I always wanted to have Usagi Yojimbo. It's funny enough, I wanted more than turtles. I like turtles. There's the one turtles. There's so many production lines. So okay, NECA is one of them
So
ones,
many.
yes.
Yeah.
And they have like a ginormous amount. There's one movie ones, there's a cartoon ones, there's a special edition ones, and then there's one company which is I don't know what the name of which production I think is in Japan, which they have a extreme detail and articulation turtles, which they look exactly like cartoon ones. So that's even
Yes.
6 volumes, but one of them is about two. What is no? I don't know. About from 100 to 200 pounds a pop, one figure
Holy crap.
because of that special like plastic use the articulation part and
Articulation. Yeah.
you can like
All
stylistically display it to your hearts and like and apparently it's really well balanced. It seems to be no matter if you would like lift the foot up and apparently if you're gonna go and visit Japan, in Japan is highly available because they
hmm
have those ginormous like shops which they have only toys there,
hmm
and that's what you kind of experience in Japan. But apparently
Yeah.
there it's available, not in this part. So anybody's going for Japan visit, maybe
Yeah.
you would like to pick up one.
Yeah. Right.
I don't
Make
know
it
how much
two.
in Japanese yen though, but hopefully
Yeah.
it's not as
Right.
much as it is in
I mean,
pounds.
cheaper. Still cheaper. Still be cheaper for sure.
You know what scares me all
Yeah.
the time
The
when I look in the yens, in Japanese yens, is the
Yeah.
quantity. They go thousands, like 30 quid is like,
Yeah.
oh my God, how many thousands of yen? And it's like, ugh, not used to that kind of quantities.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I,
I've seen a bunch of the turtle stuff at Galaxy Comics, so our bigger shop or
yeah,
probably
yeah,
our biggest shop in town. They've got a
mm,
lot of the toys, and like you're saying, like there's so many different lines, like there's so many different companies,
yeah,
and
bit of this.
each of them have the stuff that's really good about it. But
Uh,
the ones that I like, they look almost like that Usagi Yojimbo black and white, like they've got this kind of hand drawn element to kind of the paint job and the sculpt and things. and they look like,
Mhm.
even the boxes are gorgeous, like, but again, they're so expensive. All that stuff is so expensive,
There's the
you know.
shop. There's one toy shop around really to where I am, so it's kind of like it's not somewhere. I live in a village, so once bigger city, well, town really, next to us have one toy shop, and he does old school and of course new stuff, and old like action figures, not all of them, but specific, like he doesn't have the biggest range. So he has old school turtles, and they are cheaper because they use. When it's the new turtle figures in the box, they are much more expensive, and you're like,
Hmm.
and then the one thing he has all that kind of old school toys, like you would think, like from Scooby Doo to the Smurfs to like He-Man, and then you have Star Wars, and he has this wall of, like the way you specially desire those Star Wars figures, like 3.75, like small versions of them.
Hmm.
And there's one of the figures, 250 pounds, because it's a
Yeah.
rarity of that. And you're like,
Yeah.
damn, this is just for display probably, because I doubt anybody in this village gonna go and, like, even though, okay, there's quite a few riches living around in here, billionaires, and like David Beckham apparently lives in this area, which is like,
Oh,
like not something I want to know about, but somehow I
yeah.
found out now. It's like, and then people think I am just like shifting money like left, right, and center. Like, no, not
Yeah.
really. I'm not old money or that kind of football money
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
live from, because a lot of families, the money is from the old money, we call it, because it's
Hmm.
generations
Yeah.
of
Generation. Yeah. Yeah.
generations of farmers, because farmers in here, like, they have, like, no wonder Clarkson's farm TV show is popular, because it shows, kind of gives you a bit of idea what kind of money you have to roll in order to actually have a farm in England.
Hmm.
Whereas a tractor who comes to harvest your wheat, for example, is 1.5 million pounds. And you come to rent it, and it costs your rent for 100 grand or something for some
Right.
period of time. It's like, excuse me, how much money do your acres of land has to make in order for you just to have a tractor to go around and chop it from one end to another one? But
Hmm.
I digressing. That toy shop is frustrating sometimes, but that's my son's favorite spot. So we always go there. My son is like,
Hmm.
and I was like, I am a child. I really like looking at it, but it makes me frustrated because, like,
Yeah.
you, and when you can't cover yourself with toys. I mean, you can if you want to, but like, you just, like, you have to. Your sanity has to come sometimes in your brain, saying like, "This is just for
Yeah.
viewing. Just
It
look."
becomes like almost a museum, because there's one place in
Yes.
town here, Cobra Correct Collectibles.
Yeah.
I personally, my personal opinion, it's a shitty shop because the prices are just insane. Like, they're not realistic. And especially
Mhm.
considering the area of town that they are, I feel like they're taking advantage of people that live around there. But that's
Mhm.
an aside. It's great. The fun thing about going in there is they have a billion toys as well, and they're all behind glass. Like, it's so much fun kind of just walking and looking at all the displays, because some of it, yeah, sure, I mean, it would be nice to have, but ultimately, whatever, it's so cool to see them kind of in person, right? Like, and just like you're saying, going to your shop there, just walking around and seeing what the figures looked like, and it's cool. Yeah.
I
Tons of
showed
GI Joe stuff at this place too,
I
tons
showed
of it.
my I showed my son the, yeah, Joe Josie has plenty of them as well. I showed my son Smurfs, because there's a Smurfs movie somehow, or then like show, he
Yeah.
saw something on YouTube, whatever, and then I show him the toy. Says, this is the toy for Smurfs, and he's like, okay, I want that one. It's like, no.
Hmm.
I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to show it to you to see what mommy used to have when she was
Yeah, I
watching
used to
those.
have them as well too. Yeah, the
Yeah, and I
tiny
used,
ones, right? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were like, yeah, they like, I don't know what, like this, yeah, like it's tiny
Hmm.
in comparison. But anyway, so I was saying, like, I actually saw the one I had because I didn't have many, and I lost one, and I remember clearly how distraught I was. That like scarred me to, like, I can't remember years later.
Hmm.
So, and I showed him. It's like, wow, is that? And he's like, oh, it doesn't look old. Well, it is old. I don't know,
Yeah.
because they looked quite in good condition, what the guy was having. And he also
Hmm.
had like boxed He-Man castle. Like,
Oh
it's not
boy.
not the most well kept box, but it's
Hmm.
boxed. Like he even says like a couple of times, oh, it's actually original, never been opened. It's like, wow, how, I mean, that's kind of crazy to even
That
somebody
is
who
crazy.
kept it. And he's like, but nobody will buy it. Or there's this ray gun from Star Wars prop. Apparently, he has a prop, and it's one of the, the production lines ones, which comes in like
Okay.
conventions and blah blah blah. And somebody apparently sold it to him, and it's like 250 pounds. Like, yeah, for prop, like a
Hmm.
mantelpiece. You put on your
Yeah.
above your fireplace. Sometimes some of it is really nice to have and to look at, for sure, and they
Sure. I mean,
also
it's
show
the
that.
modern day. It's the modern day art collectors, right? Nobody's
Yes.
buying. Well, not nobody, but less people are buying big paintings as investments and things. So people are buying this stuff, and it's
Yeah.
displays and it's investments, and hopefully they continue to go up in value. But same
Yeah.
kind of thing as just buying paintings and things. It's always a bit of a gamble.
Yes.
You never know, right?
Anyway, and
Yeah,
he
it's
used
crazy.
he used to sell comic books. He doesn't sell anymore because apparently it wasn't viable enough because it was not
Hmm.
enough popularity in my area. So that's why I don't have any
That's a
comic
bummer.
books around. Even though it's like university
But he's
kind of.
selling toys that are like 250 pounds that are
Yes,
never going to sell. And how is that more viable? It doesn't make any sense to me. I guess
I
with
think.
comics, you have to keep up and all these kind of things too.
No,
Like,
the comic books, don't forget, is also the storage problem.
yeah.
When you have one 251 that you just display on the wall, it's going to
Hmm.
stay. You're not going to have to put 500 of them again.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but what I'm trying to say is kind of like it's becoming quite difficult to be. And or oh so what is it, there's a book up. Oh yeah, DC announced that they're going to do more Deadman and Spectre books collected.
Oh, cool.
So the ones which is kind of difficult to get hold of it, they're gonna come out with some more. And I didn't realize that Deadman omnibus I have is actually quite pricey now.
Of course it is. Yeah. Because they never keep any of that shit in print because they're fucking scumbags. It's so frustrating. Like that's again talking like looking at Chris's video when he's talking about Fantagraphics.
Uh-huh.
Fantagraphics does a pretty good job of keeping things in print. So you
Yes.
don't it not that it never happens, but it's less often that it
Yeah.
happens where you then miss a book and you have to pay $500 for it, where it's a consistent thing with Marvel and DC. They print 10 of them and then
Uh,
all of a sudden they're all gone. Oh, surprise, we're so surprised everything's sold out. Like come on people, come on.
oh, I hope you're okay and found a nice place though.
Didn't make it to my planned campsite. It's just too
Yes.
hot. Time for a break and then set up. Okay, well, that's impressive that you're doing an overnighter yourself, man.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
I bet you just have like a tiny setup. Oh,
I had an image of him like
uh-huh.
locking into the face of a mountain and putting his bed on because I've seen some videos where people set up like their bed right on the side of a mountain and have like obviously like a basket to wrap them in so they don't roll out of it and stuff. But man, oh man, that's a level beyond me, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Seems
I saw those.
terrifying.
I know that those pictures as well. It's like if you're moving sleeper, geez, Louise, that's
Hmm.
not something I would
Gotta
imagine.
have
You
faith
wake
in your
up,
rigging. Yeah,
you wake up, and the first thing you see is the
yeah,
bottom. I was like, ah,
yeah,
shit your pants. Don't need to go to the
yeah,
loo.
totally.
They will drop
Yeah,
down in the abyss anyway.
that's
Okay,
hilarious.
all right then. I'm done talking because
Yeah,
I have
I'm done.
nothing
I have
else to
nothing
watch.
else. I didn't read anything else.
Yeah, I've been actually read quite a few, but we have a gap. So, whew, it was nice to have a chat once again.
Yeah,
Hopefully, somehow we can come up with a chat again, but not sure when due to any
yeah, it'll
other
be a few
commitments.
weeks anyway.
Yeah, but maybe September will be the best start to something more, which just
Hmm.
actually helps because it's not going to be summer holidays anymore. So yeah,
Hmm.
right. Thank you, people,
Cool.
for checking us out and being with us and chatting with us for a bit and giving us pointers and how to pronounce things. And we'll see you. Bye
Yeah, see you soon.
bye.
Later.